with one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. Local lenders don't disappear after closing day. Our reputation is built right here, one family at a time. So before you pick up the phone and call a stranger, remember us, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon at Alabama Home Mortgage. You deserve guidance from someone who knows the community because they're a part of it. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm Bill. You called about some breaker stripping?
Oh, yes, Bill. My brother-in-law says you can do almost anything.
That's me. Not much I hadn't seen.
Do you really want someone who does almost anything in your electric box? Think about that, because each year thousands of home fires are caused by faulty wiring. That's why you want a professional, like the electricians at Crosby Electric.
Bill, how's it going? Bill, ooh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't really need my eyebrows anyway.
At Crosby Electric, all technicians undergo rigorous safety training, as well as background checks, drug testing, and continuing education.
Bill, you think maybe I should call a real electrician?
No, these little slip-ups happen. Everybody does it.
Really?
No, not really. When you need professional electric work, or you just like someone to assess your home for safety, call the experts at Crosby Electric, 272-2085, or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Thank God for another beautiful day. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful show. At least an alright show. And, well, Montgomery needs a new mayor. And there's a few things that have been happening in the news, statewide, nationally, maybe even internationally. Just a few things. Not that crazy, right? It's not like major anchors of major networks, or once major networks, are getting fired, or the Supreme Court saying, yeah, Alabama can actually draw their own maps when it comes to congressional races and other races. Spencer Pratt might just well be the next mayor of Los Angeles. Who knows? It looks like Steve Hilton, the guy who's Trump's backing, former British fella, is now an American, could be governor of California. Who knows? Trump called Netanyahu effing crazy. Both Trump and Netanyahu confirmed it in follow-up interviews. All sorts of stuff going on. But as we always do, to kick off the show on Wednesdays, let's bring on the one, the only Jeff Poor. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. So first, your reaction to the Supreme Court. This is vindication in a way.
I think so. I mean, it wasn't unexpected. It's foolish to think that they weren't going to do this. I mean, I know Doug Jones said, I can't believe they really did this, but I think initially, once Louisiana verdict came down, it became more likely. But when it became most likely was when the state petitioned the Supreme Court on the 3-judge panel about the Milligan case needed to be reheard. And then they vacated the decision, vacated everything to do with that court case, and said, let's have a do-over, remanded it to the lower court. And then that set in motion what we saw, the end of April special session, early May, and setting up for a new election, setting up with a map that was drawn 3 years ago. And so when that started to take place, I mean, it just the prediction markets had to be betting on it. I mean, you just had to think that was going to happen. But what became like the most certain was when the state Senate districts in your in your listening audience where they were said that it's okay to go back to the 2021 map. And I said, well, if they're going to do that there, they're certainly going to do this with the congressional map. I think late in the game, the last 24 hours before the Supreme Court came out last night, they got a little skittish. They opened up qualifying in case the Supreme Court went with a 5-2 map, which was just muddled and confused the process. I don't know why they felt the need to do that, but they did. Such as it was, we got the decision, and the way, I guess the biggest takeaway, based on we knew this was going to happen, was some of the verbiage from the 6-3 majority opinion about how the lower court did not follow the instructions in Colley, and essentially said, look, you're trying to prove some kind of racial discrimination here, and you can't use partisanship. You can't use a partisan act of the Alabama legislature to draw maps in a partisan way as proof of some kind of racial animosity. It doesn't work anymore. That is the new precedent from the Louisiana Colley case, that you can still draw a racist map, I suppose, in a way that's nonpartisan, disenfranchise black voters, but you're not going to do it by saying that the partisan leaning of that geographic area is grounds alone. And that's where the lower court got it wrong. And they were very, very defiant in that preliminary injunction.
That's what I was going to ask you next is, like, what sore losers those judges on the court, and also I didn't hear what Doug Jones said, but what sore losers so many of the Democrats have been over what seems like a pretty cut and dry case.
I think so, and he called it a return to the old Confederacy. I mean,
wow.
That was, then there was real disenfranchisement of the African-American voters in Alabama's past. There's no denying that. This was a remedy. Alabama did not listen. They committed the sins of the past. We've had to live with them. But at some point, this is not going to last forever. That the remedies were meant to correct and get Alabama to listen to what they were trying to say. It was back then, Joey, it was all Democrats, and they were drawing congressional maps based on race to keep black Democrats from what they were doing. Right. They were using it in a way to disenfranchise black voters. It wasn't a partisan thing. It was still Democrats, and they just wanted white Democrats. Now we have this new criteria as established by this court out of nowhere that Democrat or Republican is now grounds for some kind of, racial response from the courts. And the Supreme Court said, no, that's not how this works at all. And, I think what prevails ultimately is the Constitution. And this is also in that majority opinion last night, that it's up to the states. And that's ultimately what trumps everything. It's up to the states to decide how they want to do their congressional maps. And I don't know why that's so hard for the federal courts, these three judges, Stanley Marcus, Terry Moore, and Anna Manasco, to understand. But it becomes a game, and not just like the judicial power of the federal government, but it's a constitutional question, and they lost in that. And that, but they were defiant.
Well, and I wouldn't be shocked with decisions like this, and of course, like the Dobbs decision, so many decisions that the Democrats, if they ever get power back nationally, will try to pack the court, expand the court, and take things back over. Because not only is this like short-term wins, and like it bears on the very next election, this is taking a sledgehammer to structural advantages and structural things they got put in place in the 20th century.
Yeah, I agree with that. And essentially, I've been harping on this all morning on my show. We can't have two sets of rules, one for Massachusetts and one for Alabama. That's just not fair. Maybe at one time it was something we had to do for the sake of Alabama, just and George Wallace and his ilk not really getting the message. But a lot of that happened before you and I were born, and we're still being held to that same standard. But it wasn't for Democrats to have built their entire political apparatus on that was always kind of shaky ground to me. Like, they're not trying to win in the war of ideas. They're trying to win power through a technicality. They're trying to win power through by judicial fiat or whatever. And they think that would last forever. And I think it's time for Democrats to, especially in Alabama, to look and say, well, we're not going to win this way. This worked. We had a good run, but they're making some inroads in some place in Alabama. Madison County had big time Democrat turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery County as well. When in the war of ideas, you got to have better messaging, better politics. That's just how our system was meant to work. It wasn't meant to work with this social engineering that was done in the last century.
Yeah, and there is daylight, and just on a practical basis, say the Republican policies, the conservative policies, the legislature and the governor actually start acting like true conservatives, attracts a lot of folks as more people continue to move to the south, to the southern part of the country, and you start seeing more folks in Birmingham and especially Huntsville. I think with those bigger populations, you naturally start to have a more liberal folks. And it may not be on the coastal elites and latest social issues or harkening back to the civil rights movement, but you will definitely have a more liberal crowd that might be more amenable. And so I think there's a path there. Like we always talk about the death of this or that political party, and it's always overstated.
Yeah, and these things kind of go in cycles, and 100-year cycles even. I wouldn't count, changes in demographics, changes in population, changes in just culture, and this happens or become more secular as a society. I do think there's something in the DNA in America, and this was true in the last century, that we kind of reject socialism. I don't think that is something we will ever go to. But I do think that, on the margins, things kind of come and go. These political philosophies come and go throughout our history. And, Democrats just got to figure out what the next thing is. They got to reinvent the wheel, essentially, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, and never underestimate, especially without Trump, the GOP to mess things up and to go in the wrong direction, especially, say, established interest in the party. But I want to shift to the GOP here in the state and the Republican runoff debates that are being hosted by 1819 News, and I believe you're playing a big part in that debate schedule. This is for the AG race, the lieutenant governor race, and the U.S. Senate race. So kind of paint a picture for folks. So, I guess this is going to be at the Impact at the Performing Arts Center in downtown Montgomery here?
Yeah, that's the plan. Next week, next Monday. And I mean, this is a chance to evaluate the candidates side by side. Not going to be really any gotchas. I think it's going to be policy. I mean, there are some policy contrasts. A lot of these guys are going to agree on most of the things, but we're voting for two different people, and what will differentiate the two so voters have a better ability to make a choice.
Do you know the schedule? Is it going to start with AG, then Lieutenant Governor, then U.S. Senate?
That's the plan. Yeah, we'll do Senate last. It's the top of the ticket, so it's sort of the headliner. But those are three marquee races. Some of them, they're all very different in, their job descriptions and whatnot. And so I think it's, aside from who was endorsed by Trump or whatever, what's important is how are you going to handle crime? What do you think of, an intrusive federal government potentially in the latter part of your term if a Democrat is elected to the White House? Those are the kind of things I'm interested in at AG. Lieutenant Governor, we have a new working order with the role of the Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor is, in some way, it has been the waiting room for the governor's office. Are they ready? Both of these candidates prepared to be governor on day one if the opportunity or the conditions arise where they have to. And then obviously U.S. Senate. This is one of the quietest U.S. Senate races. I know it's picking up, and Jared Hudson and Barry Moore are kind of swinging back and forth at each other. But I would say up until this point, it has been a relatively subdued contest. But that will be, here we are. We're going to be a week out. This will be like one of the last opportunities for these candidates to really make their case.
And folks, you can go to 1819news.com and there at the middle of the page. You can get tickets there. Again, these 3 runoff debates. Doors open at 4 p.m. Debates start at 6 p.m. at the Montgomery Performing Arts Center coming up June 8th, Monday. And it should be that's a great setting. I think that's going to work perfectly. I've seen many comedy shows there and a few rock concerts as well. So it'll be a good spot for a debate, good sound at least. And, what do you make of the polling being all over the place this cycle, especially in this runoff cycle? Like what I always say is the polls condition the polls, that the really good stuff, the really art and science of polling, they ain't putting out to the public unless they're just truly whooping somebody. But what do you make of these competing polls that are being released to the public?
There's different methodologies in the way that they come to these conclusions. And the polling in Alabama has always been bad. And it's not bad. I think these pollsters give their best effort.
Sure.
But it's a hard state to poll. You may have high turnout in North Alabama and low turnout in Birmingham, or vice versa. There's a certain inconsistency in the electorate in this state. Sometimes there's a congressional race or something in one part of the state, there's not in another. How much does the August 11th runoff, taking that off the ballot, does that the lower turnout in some places in the state? And each of these candidates will have their geographic strong suits. Alabama is not a monolith. It is I always talk about it like this. It's a very tribal state.
Mm-hmm.
There's different interests. So to me, that's why it makes it so hard to poll, because you can't really rely on the election before. In 2022, so maybe it's this. So there's a lot of these models that they're relying on, turnout and who voted in that election. So you got to remember the circumstances were different. We had Joe Biden in office. A lot of Republicans were very eager to get out and vote against the Biden administration. In an overwhelming Republican state, are you going to have quite as much enthusiasm among Republican voters versus Democrat voters who are very eager to go out and vote against Donald Trump? You've got to take that stuff into account, and we're just not really good at it because the pollsters in the state, they kind of come and go. There's no exact science. You just got to kind of know the mood of the electorate, and I think that's why you get all these crazy numbers all over the board.
Now, I have been making a personal policy where I ignore all these texts and all these calls and solicitations to take part in it. I mean, and maybe I'm like a lot of the state. It's just tough to reach people because I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah, I think so. And that's a product I think that's the Barrymore John Wall phenomenon. If you look at the turnout, not the turnout, but the results of the primary last month, that Barrymore, and this has been consistent throughout his political career, he underpolls. His brand of voter is like you, Joey. They don't respond to any of this stuff. They don't have time for it. They're not interested in it. I don't know what, the motivations or any of that are, but that is that's the wisdom there. And I think that is applicable to Wall. Interestingly, those are the two Trump endorsed candidates, and maybe their voters just don't trust these pollsters. For whatever reason, that makes it harder to figure out really where this race is, where you need to be if you're a candidate, where you need to be spending time, spending money, where you need to be knocking on doors, et cetera. It's just it's a very complicated game, but we've never really in this state had really good polling because I think some of it is just subjective. Like, how do you feel about this? Where do you think this is headed, et cetera?
Now, my gut tells me that of those 3 debates you're having, those 3 runoff races, I think the Senate really is anybody's game. Now, and I've been straight up. I voted for Barrymore. I'll probably vote for him again. But I won't be all hurt or anything if Jared Hudson gets over the top because they're so alike in many ways. You can read between the lines that I have my reasons, but I'm not really trying to twist people's arms and sway people one way or the other. It just seems like the Hudson campaign has a lot of energy, especially online. Anytime you post about Barrymore, Jared Hudson, you see a lot of folks coming out. So I am seeing a little bit of activity to where, well, and you're right, it's turnout. And especially those counties where Jared Hudson lives and is well known, who actually shows up to vote?
Well, I going into the primary last month, it was, man, Jared Hudson sure is strong in that Birmingham market. He's a known commodity there. Those surrounding areas knew who he was. He performed well. But what people didn't expect, because everybody kind of looked at North Alabama as sort of a toss-up, probably Steve Marshall. That's his home turf. But Barry Moore way exceeded expectations. Barry Moore, one of his strongest places in the state outside of his home counties, was the Shoals, the exact opposite corner of Alabama relative to, where he is or where he resides. What's that all about? And I don't think people anticipated that. So if you're Jared Hudson, you're looking at this is the path for him. If Birmingham shows up to vote that day, but for whatever reason, Huntsville doesn't quite show up or Mobile doesn't show up in that way, then he's got a path to the U.S. Senate. But Barry Moore strong in Mobile, Barry Moore strong from Chilton County South, I would say. And can Jared Hudson win it? Are there enough Steve Marshall voters? Where would they go? Would they go with Congressman Moore or would they go with Jared Hudson? We don't know the answer to that question either. But if it's based on, Barry Moore's success in North Alabama, you got to think it's going to be really tight up there. I think the Jared Hudson play here is to score as much as you can in the Birmingham DMA and just hope that the other parts of the state don't show up. And it'll be a low turnout event. Here's the other part of this. Don't look at these percentages. The percentages, they're important for the trends because at a low turnout event, it's just raw vote totals. And you could concoct a sample thinking that this is going to be voter behavior in Ozark, Alabama versus Anniston, Alabama, but you don't know if the people at Ozark are going to show up like the people at Anniston will. There's no exact science there. It's just sort of, I think the people there seem to be more responsive. They're talking about it more. It's kind of an on-the-ground feeling. And when they go to poll it, Joey, they go and they say, well, based on historical data, this is what happened in 22 or 24. But none of that's really necessarily applicable here. That's what skews all these polls, and that's why they're all over the place.
And then there's the aspect of there's so much they have in common. Like there really isn't, in my mind, a policy wedge issue. Maybe there's a wedge with the Trump endorsement. Like that can be a pretty good, clear thing people can hang their hat on. But, my reasons for going with Barry have more to do, like I'd known the guy, and when I voted for him in Congress in this area, I've heard people call up saying, I'm voting for Jared Hudson because, man, that guy's got energy. He's a badass. He killed a lot of people in the Taliban. So it becomes this personality. Who do you get along with? Who do you just have that sense of? And that's always difficult to try to measure at a certain point.
And I would say this also for Jared Hudson, he's clearly got some momentum.
Yeah.
Now, the momentum, we didn't see it coming for Barry Moore. Like I said, he outperformed. But so that caught us by surprise. But you could see Jared Hudson move from this, kind of relatively unknown all the way up, and now he is a candidate in the runoff here. But, he he defeated a statewide candidate.
And he's gotten better as a candidate. You could see it happen in real time.
Yeah, and people are getting to know who he is. I think he's got momentum, but that's a big gap between Barry Moore and Jared Hudson when the votes were tallied. That's a lot to overcome. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I think if you're looking at it, you certainly got to give the momentum to Jared Hudson.
Now, real quick, what do you think of this whole L.A. mayor's race and Spencer Pratt and this crazy insurgent campaign?
I tell you what, and I think this is true with the California gubernatorial race. I think that state is the first state to kind of have politics in a post-Trump era. How much did they talk about Trump in any of that? That you had a real policy, DR, conservative, liberal skirmish there. And California kind of went the way we expect California to go. It's a blue state. There's no denying that. But you didn't have this, and I think this is going to be an anomaly relative to November, but it didn't seem like anything was really driving Democrats pertaining to who was in power in Washington, that it was more of a local election.
Yeah.
It was more based upon the arena of ideas and people there just leaning more Democrat and liberal in their policy thinkings and feelings, that it wasn't about voting against Trump, because otherwise, if that were the circumstances, Democrats should have blown out Spencer Pratt and Steve Hilton by a bigger margin than they did. I mean, because people are still talking today in this runoff. Hey, you never know, like what could happen here. And it's supposed to be a Democrat cycle. Well, then why are we talking about California? And these candidates are going to have to work for it. I'm still leading Democrats. Like I said, it's a tradition. But it wasn't this blowout for the Democrat and the Democrat candidates as, we may have thought otherwise.
And I think you could do seminars on the AI ads in all different types, like epic over the top to get people's attention, very entertaining ads from the Pratt folks, to like kind of that everyday one where it's a bunch of women in a yoga sauna saying, wait, I'm voting for Pratt too. Like, it's been effective ad after effective ad. And it also, with production costs coming down and going viral becoming a factor, especially at a big media market, it's just fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and I think some of those tactics are true, but like I said, the prevailing mood of the country and where people get their news, and Democrats, especially in this state, are very motivated. I don't see the same enthusiasm, energy. The one single unifying principle we are told is Trump derangement syndrome, which I think is true, but it never was really discussed in California. I think that's the main thing here. My takeaway, looking at these results, I think things went about as they would any other normal cycle. That if you're just kind of handicapping it and you take all the national politics out of it, this is about where California is. Maybe Republicans perform slightly better than the expectations would have had. They haven't elected a Republican statewide in 20 years. But, Steve Hilton wasn't doing all the AI stuff for sure. And
True.
I think he had a really good night. I'm just saying that California, the takeaway for me is that is sort of the first battleground of a kind of post-Trump political environment.
And if that's, I think you're 100% right. I think that's great insight. And it's going to be fascinating. If that's the first, say, bellwether in what's coming post-Trump, maybe there is a lot of hope for the GOP folks, except for the energizing factor. Can a Rubio or a Vance or anybody else energize a base like Trump does? It's going to be, again, fascinating to watch. And I always appreciate your time, took extra time today. If folks want to check out your work, Jeff, how can they do so?
Check out x.com/Jeff_Poor. That's to check me out personally, but more importantly, 1819 News, 1819news.com.
Well, appreciate it, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Again, Jeff Poor there, host of the Jeff Poor Show and editor-in-chief there at 1819 News. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro Ashley and that great team. Well, they're ready to help you out with getting rid of those nasty things that we call mosquitoes. Truly nasty creatures. They're definitely the product of the fall. And I don't mean like the season. I mean like the fall of man. Like, these things are out of a nightmare, especially when you see the close-up shot. And then, of course, just practically they're annoying. You're trying to enjoy, say, the backyard or the front porch after a big meal with family, and grandma's getting eaten up like crazy because she's got that sweet meat. She's got that smell that the mosquitoes love. And you think, well, I'll get candles or we'll get the spray. What, you're going to spray grandma? Why not treat your yard? Why not spray your yard? Why not have Pest Pro Services do that for you? And of course, while you're at it, get signed up for their monthly subscription model for basic pest control needs. And they stop by on a regular basis and they get the job done well. Most of the time, they don't even have to go inside. So again, check them out today. You can always go to ppsriverregion.com to learn more, or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces, or just call them direct. 265-9990. That's 265-9990. That's, again, Pest Pro Services. When you want to know, call a pro. Great success story of a small business. Great local folks there. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Do you suffer every time you try to wear good-looking shoes, but you don't want to wear ugly shoes just because they're comfortable? The Good Feet store wants to help you wear heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort.
We're located at 7341 East Chase Parkway in the shops at East Chase. Now hiring. Trust Montgomery's glass experts to provide you with fast and convenient service when and where you need it. Find out how affordable independent glass can be. Free estimates on storefronts, shower doors, furniture tops, plate glass, window glass, plexiglass, custom beveled mirrors, residential or commercial services. You come to them or Independent Glass will come to you. Call Independent Glass 263-2823, 263-2823, or stop by 2047 Bell Street near the entrance to Maxwell. Independent Glass.
This is Matt Woodham with Woodham Southside Firestone. As a businessman, you need to watch your advertising dollar. We've been using Blue Water Broadcasting for many years. Blue Water Broadcasting is the biggest bang for your buck. Blue Water Broadcasting and Woodham Southside Firestone, great combination.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
At Montgomery Men's Health, we saw a bunch of patients last month. Almost none came because of an ad. They came because something happened. A fight with a wife who finally said, "Get help." A breakup. A new relationship that made them aware of things they used to ignore. A photo a friend tagged them in. One guy said he just stared at himself in the mirror, and that was enough. If today's your day, call right now. 334-440-3663. I'm Dr. Smith, urologist and advisor to Montgomery Men's Health. Built on almost 15 years of treating men in Alabama, one patient at a time. Dedicated to ED, low T, and male performance. Here's what happens when you call. We book you this week. We'll get a lab in an hour. For ED, we walk you through your real options at the same visit. A plan before you leave. Don't let today turn into next year. Call now. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
Trust is the #1 reason why a patient chooses a healthcare provider. Adams Drugs has been your trusted healthcare provider since 1962 and has been voted the #1 pharmacy in the River region for many years. We strive each and every day to provide you the level of healthcare you have come to expect from Adams Drugs. The employees at Adams Drugs take pride in developing relationships with their patients. From making sure your prescriptions are filled correctly, to getting to know you and your family's needs, and following up on any questions you may have, Adams Drugs employees deliver top-notch service. We ask you to visit us at any of our locations in Montgomery, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, and Pine Level Marbury and give us a chance to earn your business. You can find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Payroll processor ADP says job creation by American businesses has picked up following a pause, with hiring hitting a 16-month high. 122,000 jobs added last month. Wall Street expected to see just 110,000 new jobs in May. Macy's reports its fourth consecutive quarter of comparable sales gains. The department store credits an overhaul of its merchandise and improved customer service for driving more spending by customers. Macy's shares jumped 3% pre-market. GameStop advanced 13.6% in the early going after it nearly doubled Wall Street's profit expectations and announced a $2 billion stock buyback. The Trump administration is proposing tariffs of 10% or more for dozens of major trading partners following a probe of alleged forced labor. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
I would say comfortable is the weather word for the next few days, with lower humidity and cooler temperatures. Today, partial sunshine, less humid, nice breeze, cooler, high near 80. Mostly clear skies, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature in the upper 50s. I think we'll be in the low to mid 80s tomorrow, Thursday. Lots of sunshine, nice day, low humidity. Near 60 on Thursday night, then middle 80s on Friday, still nice. The weekend, we start to warm up a little bit, upper 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Perhaps some spotty storms by Sunday afternoon. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
When the heat hits in the river region, don't wait. If your AC quits, Hands Heating and Air offers same-day service, or your diagnostic charge is free with their Comfort a Day or you don't pay guarantee, plus 24/7 service with no overtime charges.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Do you want to get in on the program? 334-272-9228 is the number to call. That's 334-272-9228. In a second, we'll get into the Scott Pelley firing, the very serious anchor. Man's an ass. He kind of had it coming. And he got a little too big for his britches in a staff meeting with talking bad about the new boss there at CBS, Miss Barry Weiss. But before we get into that, as well as Trump and Netanyahu both confirming that Trump called Netanyahu effing crazy, but he didn't just use harsh letters on a phone call, both confirming it in follow-up interviews. You have Marco Rubio sparring with a lot of members of Congress. He's now on the House side today, as well as Scott Bessent in front of, I believe, the Banking and Finance Committee. Bessent taking on Ron Wyden, as well as Elizabeth Warren and others. So plenty to get to in terms of clips, what's happening on Capitol Hill, what's happening in corporate media. And before we continue on with more of the news, and I believe no Eddie today, but Troy Carrico should be joining us probably in the next 13:30. We're going to use that military time. I'm not quite used to it, but hanging around with an old lieutenant colonel from the Air Force, at home as my roommate, you start to get used to the military times being called out. Before we get to any of that, I want to take part in something that's happening all over the country, especially in Catholic churches. And I think this is something everybody, can at least appreciate. That the bishops of the Catholic Church in the United States have decided to consecrate the United States of America to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And so each day we're saying a prayer. And it's pretty straightforward. O most Sacred Heart of Jesus, you know the longings of our hearts, and you desire that we enjoy friendship with you. From your pierced side you have poured out the wellspring of life for which we thirst. Your heart burns with a love for all people to return to a right relationship with you. We celebrate the abundant gifts you have given this nation, founded on the self-evident truths that our Creator has endowed all people with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We make reparation for the offenses against you and against human dignity that have taken place in this nation, and I would add in this state and in this city. May our hearts be united to yours so that our families and communities enjoy peace and happiness. May broken relationships be reconciled, injustices repaired, and the wounds of our land be healed. May your Holy Catholic Church serve as a sign pointing all people to your infinite love. O desire of nations and center of history, we ask you to bless these United States of America, who live and reign with God the Father in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen. Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, have mercy on us. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us. Now to the news. CBS News faced a fresh wave of turmoil on Monday after Scott Pelley, the 60 Minutes correspondent, laced into the show's newly hired executive producer during a staff meeting and accused Barry Weiss, the network's editor-in-chief, of quote-unquote murdering the long-standing Sunday news program. No, I think it was murdered a long time ago, Scott, and it's been a zombie just holding on after death. Not in a good way. With that program, 60 Minutes used to get 30 million people at its height, and it was A few million, still a few millions, not bad, but yeah, I think the program had already gone into niche territory. This report, again, here is from the New York Times. An extraordinary exchange. Mr. Pelly, his newscaster's baritone, sometimes shaking in anger, told Nick Bilton, the new executive producer, that he had, quote-unquote, slender qualifications for his new job and questioned the network's commitment to the future of the program. And this is all not just speculation or leaks. This is according to a recording of the meeting obtained by the New York Times. The 10 a.m. gathering, held at the program's Midtown Manhattan headquarters, was intended as a formal introduction to Mr. Bilton, a tech journalist and filmmaker who was appointed last week as part of a major shakeup at 60 Minutes. CBS fired Tanya Simon, the previous executive producer, and her deputy, along with Sharon Alfonsi and Cecilia Vega, two of the show's correspondents, an event that Mr. Pelly referred to as, quote-unquote, Black Thursday. The meeting quickly turned tense, not a surprise after months of strain between veteran journalists at 60 Minutes and Miss Weiss, an opinion journalist who was a longtime critic of legacy media institutions before she became the head of one last year. She was appointed by David Ellison, a tech scion, and who took control of CBS's parent company Paramount in a multi-billion-dollar merger. Mr. Bilton, who had never worked in traditional broadcast news, opened Monday's meeting by trying to assuage the anxieties of staff members who believe he might fundamentally change the decades-old DNA of the country's top-rated news program. For me, the journalism is the journalism, Mr. Bilton said, according to the recording. That is why I'm here. That is why we are all here. He added, the rumors people are spreading that I'm going to turn the show into 61-minute episodes, that is going to be like TikTok, that is not changing. The show is going to stay exactly like it is for now. He also warned that the broadcast television industry that incubated 60 Minutes would soon be obsolete. Broadcast is an ice cube that is melting, okay, Mr. Bilton said, saying the show had to adapt. Barry loves this institution, he added. She loves 60 Minutes. At that, Mr. Pelly interrupted. She is murdering 60 Minutes, the correspondent said. She does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it, and she's been doing exactly that. Mr. Pelly added, she has no qualifications for her job. You have slender qualifications for this job. The changes that she's made at the evening news have been catastrophic, so why should we expect that any of this is going to be any better? Mr. Bilton responded, well, we'll show you. That's what I have to say. That is my plan over the next 2 weeks. I'll be meeting with everyone. I'm very excited to meet with everyone, yourself included. CBS News did not respond to a request for comment, says the New York Times. Ms. Weiss did not attend the gathering. A CBS executive at the meeting said that Ms. Weiss had been, quote, prepared to come, and we asked her not to, citing the staff's ill feelings surrounding the firings. Ms. Weiss and Mr. Bilton had reached out to Mr. Pelly several times in recent days for a private discussion, but Mr. Pelly did not respond. In the meeting on Monday, Mr. Pelly pressed Mr. Bilton repeatedly on why CBS had fired Ms. Alfonsi and Ms. Vega. Mr. Bilton said those decisions predated his hiring. Mr. Pelly asked Mr. Bilton why he had accepted a position at a program knowing that you will never be welcome here. These folks are a little too big for their britches, and I think oblivious is a kind word, oblivious to the larger world and how it's changing. I guess folks are going to defend their own turf. I have no problem taking a job in a place that I am not welcome, Mr. Bilton said. I like that. I don't think that will be the case. He added, I've been a journalist for 25 years, Scott. I've sat across from incredibly powerful people like you have, and none of it intimidates me, okay? So you are not going to intimidate me in front of this group of people. I want that to be clear. Ooh. Mr. Bilton said that he wanted to help 60 Minutes avoid the fate of old media stalwarts that had failed to adapt, citing Time magazine. I care so deeply about this institution, Mr. Bilton said, to which Mr. Pelly interrupted, oh, please. At one point, Charles Farrell, a top deputy to Miss Weiss, urged Mr. Pelly not to act rude towards Mr. Bilton. I'm not being rude, Mr. Pelly responded. You know what was rude? Black Thursday was rude. Miss Weiss's handling of 60 Minutes has generated internal turmoil for months. In December, she pulled a segment reported by Miss Alfonsi about the brutal treatment of migrants in a Salvadoran prison, saying that it needed more reporting. The segment was critical of the Trump administration, and Miss Alfonsi said the decision was quote-unquote political. The piece ultimately aired with some additional comments from the Trump administration. On Monday, Mr. Bilton moved to conclude the meeting after roughly 15 minutes. He encouraged the assembled staff members to partake in the food that had been laid out. I just want to thank everyone for graciously being so welcoming. I look forward to talking to you in a one-on-one setting as these meetings are scheduled, and enjoy the bagels. The 60 Minutes staff applauded Mr. Pelley after Mr. Bilton departed. So, the inmates running the asylum over there. What do these people know about journalism? This is 60 Minutes, damn it. Black Thursday. They are oblivious. Absolutely oblivious. And just getting that look inside that room and that culture. No wonder y'all are failing. And good riddance you're failing. And no wonder now the Democratic Party nationally is having so much trouble because for so long they relied on institutions like CBS and 60 Minutes. But the times they are changing. I'm not saying it's all going to be for the good and all be so much better, but I think there are certain folks that have created certain lives that are very much around their career. And, well, the world is sailing by them at a rapid pace. And anybody that, tries to adapt is considered an apostate to journalism. Yeah, you've been journalisming all over the place, and it's just gross. Anyway, we'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
You want your floors to scream new, fresh, and stylish. But if yours are groaning, tired, old, and outdated, you're in luck. Because at Prattville Carpet, you can revitalize your floors while you save on the best brands available with perfect and professional installation and Prattville's unbeatable lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Start shopping for your floors right now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Tired of spending your weekends fighting weeds, patchy grass, and a mower that never starts? Mosley Lawn Pros is the solution. They handle residential and commercial lawn maintenance, landscaping, cleanups, and property care so you don't have to. They show up on time, do the job right, and leave your lawn looking sharp every time. Stop stressing over your yard and start loving it. When it comes to your lawn, call the crew your neighbors and local businesses trust. One call, one crew, problem solved. Mosley Lawn Pros, built on hard work, driven by quality. Find them today on Facebook or Google.
We get this question all the time.
Do you handle that?
Buying or selling a home?
Yes.
Commercial?
Yes.
Land or investments?
Absolutely. Hannah and Eddie Realty Group. One team.
Every real estate move. 334-322-0662.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Branco with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing?
Well, having a great week, Joey. How are you?
Great. I have to admit, not to give away too much, but where you went on vacation, I'm jealous. I want to go see that country.
Man, we had a great time. Japan is a beautiful place, and my wife and I have been trying to get there for several years. And so for our 10-year anniversary, we put a lot of time and effort over the last year, planning and saving and making plans. But I highly recommend it to anybody. They're so polite and efficient and clean. It's just all the things that you want out of it's almost a utopia.
Yeah, it's, I think, the most alien place on earth, and I mean that in a great way.
Yeah, exactly.
So one thing I want to touch on is, well, SpaceX. I was talking earlier just as a layman, kind of like, well, look at how Tesla's done and look at how successful SpaceX has been, especially this was right on the heels of Blue Origin's New Glenn blowing up.
Yeah.
But apparently SpaceX, it's about to go public, maybe not. I'm not the expert in this.
Yeah, so that we are in somewhat of like a space race, but it's not particularly close. I think that it is good to have some competition out there, and the Blue Origin rocket explosion a couple days ago was obviously, I guess, catastrophic for them in the race. But I do expect them to be well funded enough to be a competitor. But there's clearly a huge lead by SpaceX in the private space right now. But with concerns to investment, SpaceX did file their required SEC filing to do a roadshow and take the private stock public, which you and I have probably now talked about for a year and a half to 2 years. I mean, it's almost like beating a dead bush. We've known it's coming. We've communicated that it's coming. But now that the SEC filing has been submitted officially, you would expect one final round of private valuation. So the last time it was valued privately was around $800 billion to $1 trillion. The SEC filing anticipates a valuation between 1.75 and 2 trillion, so nearly a double in valuation, and that's privately. Now, once the IPO takes place, the market will decide the value of this company. And I've seen many IPOs where, especially a hot, very popular company like SpaceX, as soon as it goes public, everyone buys it up, and it's literally a rocket ship, pun intended, straight up. But then, 2 or 3 months later, it crashes back to earth, and people are left holding the bag, retail investors. But in this case, I think the valuation is credible. I'm not recommending, a buy or a sell to any investors out there right now in regards to it. I'm just saying watch it when it happens, because this will be one of the bigger, more important IPOs of modern history. Because it is, the space race in the past has all been in the public sector, and really done by, countries. And this is private, which is going to be unique, and now it's going to be publicly traded. So the open market gets to determine the value of it, and I think there's going to be tremendous value over the long run in the space race, and SpaceX has a huge lead right now.
By the way, before I let you go and we talk a little bit about Invista Advisors, shifting gears here a little bit, the president in a recent interview with Miranda Devine there at the New York Post said, well, if you take away gasoline and energy, we have very little inflation. And I guess he's being honest about it. But yeah, right now, I guess we're still in the same spot we were when this war started with the Strait of Hormuz and gas prices and energy prices remaining high.
Yeah, global destabilization in the Middle East is still putting a lot of upward pressure on gas prices, and that is obviously going to affect inflation across the board. Anytime that it costs more money to move raw goods, the cost of everything is going to increase. And so that pressure right now is keeping inflation hot. I think that you are going to see the Fed either maintain or potentially hike rates through the end of the year. Not going to be great for people that are looking to borrow, but I'm anticipating, and I'm just, this is anybody's guess. I wouldn't call this an expert opinion, but just watching what I've seen from this administration over the last several years, I would anticipate some type of resolution. I think everyone wants resolution. I know that it seems to heat up and cool off and heat up and cool off, but I think he's searching for a deal that's both equitable and good for maybe not just the United States, but globally is kind of what I'm feeling. And he's trying to get other major players involved, but I'm an optimist, and I want to believe that the administration is looking out, for not just our best interest, but long-term globally the best interest, and, maybe not allowing nuclear weapons, to certain regimes is probably the priority. But to have a short-term inflationary problem due to gas prices is very real, and it's affecting the markets.
Yeah, and definitely affecting everyday folks out there at the pump. But if folks are interested here in our conversation and want to start getting a financial plan together wherever they are in life, how can they do so with y'all?
Yeah, give us a call at Invista Advisors. We're located here off of Vaughn Road, kind of right across from the entrance of Wind Lakes, and we handle everything in the world of finance, from retirement planning to helping put your kids through college, or financing the purchase or sale of a business. Anything in the realm of finance that you want a professional opinion on, give us a call, and we're happy to sit down with you and make a plan.
Well, I appreciate it as always, Austin. Great to have you back here in the States, and again, happy anniversary, and we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Austin Baranka with Invista Advisors, folks.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Second hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Volodymyr Zelensky says the long-range Ukrainian drones have struck an oil terminal in the Russian city of St. Petersburg, setting ablaze an oil terminal. The attacks came just before the Russian city hosts an international economic forum where President Vladimir Putin is scheduled to speak. A man holding hostages inside a California office building shot and killed by the FBI. The Bakersfield Police Department said in a statement the suspect was killed in an officer-involved shooting involving FBI personnel. Police say all the hostages are free. None were harmed. The standoff in Bakersfield lasted about 12 hours. The White House Association's Correspondents' Dinner rescheduled for July 24th. The event initially disrupted by an assassination attempt on President Trump. This is SRN News.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026? If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
I would say comfortable is the weather word for the next few days, with lower humidity and cooler temperatures. Today, partial sunshine, less humid, nice breeze, cooler, high near 80. Mostly clear skies, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature in the upper 50s. I think we'll be in the low to mid 80s tomorrow, Thursday, with lots of sunshine, nice day, low humidity. Near 60 on Thursday night, then middle 80s on Friday, still nice. The weekend, we start to warm up a little bit, upper 80s on Saturday and Sunday, perhaps some spotty storms by Sunday afternoon. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Local meteorologist Josh Johnson has filed a federal lawsuit against his former employer. Johnson is seeking to get out of a 1-year non-compete clause he argues is too broad and restrictive. Josh Johnson filed the lawsuit against Gray Media and WSFA Television on Tuesday. A man was arrested Tuesday afternoon after he allegedly assaulted 3 security officers at Jackson Hospital. 29-year-old Jetonio Davis was charged with 3 counts of second-degree assault. Court records indicate Davis became unruly in the emergency room. As he was being escorted from the hospital, Davis punched 3 security officers. All 3 officers intend to press charges. A cannabis clinic is coming to Montgomery. The Green Remedy is set to open its doors on Saturday. The facility, located along Windmere Boulevard, is designed to help connect patients with providers. Patients will be evaluated at the clinic before they can qualify for a medical marijuana card. The Green Remedy will be the first cannabis clinic in the state of Alabama. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Congressman Barry Moore has always delivered for Alabama. As a member of the House Freedom Caucus, Barry Moore earned a score of 100 from Heritage Action for protecting our values. He's helped thousands of Alabama families, fought for our veterans as a veteran himself, and secured millions for infrastructure, first responders, and public safety. Barry Moore helped pass Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, delivering tax cuts for hardworking Alabama families, and stood strong to secure our borders. Now, Barry is taking that fight to the United States Senate. Barry Moore will defend our freedoms, defend the Second Amendment, protect our children, stand up for parents, and keep boys out of girls' sports while continuing to cut taxes and lower prices. Endorsed by President Trump, Barry Moore is a proven conservative Alabama can trust.
I'm Congressman Barry Moore. I rolled up my sleeves in Congress, and I'll keep fighting for Alabama in the U.S. Senate. I'm Barry Moore, a conservative fighter, and I approve this message.
Approved and paid for by Barry Moore for U.S. Senate.
Hi, I'm Mark DePlanche with Admiral Movers. People ask, what makes Admiral Movers different from other movers? It's simple. We take pride in caring for our team, so we know that they will take care of you. All of our team members are Admiral employees. They are all fully background checked and trained in-house. We never hire day laborers. So for your next move, whether it's a commercial move or household move, across town or across the country, call Montgomery's favorite movers, Admiral Movers. Mention code SUMMER10 to save 10% on your next move.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And you want to get on the conversation, 334-272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Let's go right to the phones and go to Bob, who's been very patient. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Hang on. Listen, 2 interesting points about information age. This guy did a study, and he's saying now that this generation of learners, for the first time, have regressed more than past ones because they're trying to learn solely on computers.
Yep.
And also, today I was reading on Fox News about a Mississippi teacher who the students, maybe half, wouldn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And he had them to read this book written by, I think he was a Navy SEAL, and, about patriotism and what we're fighting for and all these things. And after they read the book, and they turned around, and most of them started standing and encouraging those that didn't stand to stand. Point is, and you see this all the time when Waters interviews people all over the country, they don't even know they hardly know who the current president is.
Yep.
And I couldn't understand that. Why? And now I'm understanding. Of course, they aren't being taught government or anything else, but we aren't reading anymore. We're on Facebook trying to see how smart we are and how much people are complimenting us and all this garbage that means nothing, and we're not educating ourselves on anything.
I think you're hitting a lot of great points. My first thought, it's an old Ayn Rand line, mistakes of this magnitude are not made innocently. But it's always a mixed bag with such big institutions. I think there are a lot of folks who thought, oh, technology would be a great way to help the children's. But when you replace human beings with technology, and we're learning this with AI as well, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff where you don't feel like a human when you're doing it. And yeah, a machine can take that over. But if you don't have that, in particular, in a young kid's life where they can mirror and, like, instead of just accomplishing a task because the computer says so, they want to accomplish that task because Joey or Bob is there and they want to look out for Joey and Bob. And to your point about the social media, I think instead of us actually sitting down for lunch and maybe, you know, things we do in our lives, we impress one another or we are charitable and look out for one another, it's now all gone virtual where you're essentially curating yourself on a stage. And it can be a real nasty mess. And I think we're in a terrible spot as a country, especially as citizens, when they don't know not only who the president is, they don't know who George Washington is. They don't know why George Washington was considered the man of the century.
It's amazing how ignorant they are.
Yep.
It's amazing. And one more wonderful, amazing thought is this. You know, I'm doing a lot of study on finance and budgeting and all those. I mean, my background, I'm an accountant. But anyway, you can do this in your phone. If a person put $100 in a bank account at 6% interest, in 30 years, that $100, just $100, would be worth over $474,000 because of the compound interest value of money. 100, it just blows your mind. But people, our society, rather buy something and go in debt than try to save money and let the money work for them as it can and will. But it's so upside down, Joey. It really is.
It is upside down, though. I think there's a change coming too, because structurally, you know, this big fight over the market structure bill for all the cryptocurrency stuff. One of the sticking points is certain like crypto payment networks, they work are secured by staking to where you get even much more than 6% interest.
That's the point. But if your money accumulates to a greater value, you can command, 10, 15 or whatever, more than $100. I'm saying, yes.
Oh yeah. No, and I think some of this is people have stopped the idea of saving, but also like the way our money works out of the financial structures that we currently have, they don't incentivize that. Like, what does your savings account get or even a CD get these days?
That's right. That's right. But there are a lot of alternatives. This book said that over the next 50 years, mutual bonds have averaged 12%.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's an alternative to a bank who doesn't want to pay you anything. But, Joy, just keep being faithful to the listeners and the truth, and I appreciate your being there.
Appreciate you, Bob. God bless. 272-9228. Troy Carrico, he's stuck in traffic, folks. Would you believe there's traffic on I-65? I think that's the highway he's on from just a photo out of his dashboard. But yeah, he'll be here before too long, stopping by to, well, at least pick up the final hour together. Or, maybe say an extra prayer to open up the traffic and that everybody's safe over there. By the way, do y'all ever feel guilty about asking for, like, small things? Because I always, like, when I pray, in petitions in particular, I try to make it, bigger things. But I have the fondest memories of my grandmother, and it worked. She would pray for a parking spot, and it always worked. It was quite incredible. I think that woman is still watching over me. Hey, Ma. Anyway, let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
It's Simpler Days.
Hey, Simpler Days. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, Joey. just a couple of questions for you. Are you going to change your driving habits since the city is going back to checkpoints?
My driving, I've been driving pretty all right. I mean, it's been a while since I've been riding and smoking a blunt. I'll put it that way.
Are you going to try to avoid any of the locations where they're going to have the checkpoints?
No, do you think they're going to have a checkpoint in County Downs?
We never know where you might have to, go to pick Eddie up. I mean,
That's true. That's true. Oh, I forgot about that.
But
those never bother me because I got stopped because I used to live in Forest Hills and they would occasionally do them there, and it was never a big deal. I'm like, "What's up? Yeah, I live right there." Anyway, that's my license. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because you're not driving, as we used to say, dirty. You're not driving dirty, and there's certain checkpoints, DUI checkpoints. You're looking for DUI, but when you're looking for guns and dope and criminals, honest people don't have anything to worry about.
Well, there was a time in life where I might have been driving a little dirty, and that would have freaked me out. Not enough to go to jail for a long time or prison for a long time, but enough to it'd be a problem.
Well, they stopped those a while back because it's been a good while now. They stopped them because they said that they were catching too many fish of the same fishing school, and they were profiling those individuals, and so they stopped it. So now my question is, why are they bringing it back? If that was the case then, why are they bringing it back now? Won't that be the case now?
I guess people are finally realizing that a lot of that is excuse making for bad behavior. And especially some of the sting is somewhat taken out of it, though it doesn't completely go away. It's an amazing thing when you have, let's just be blunt, more black representation and leadership levels. People are still going to complain and make those arguments, but at a certain point, something's got to give, and you can't just let folks ride around. I mean, it's not like you can stop people at a checkpoint for, putting raisins in their potato salad. Then you might catch a few more white folks.
Well, I think it's all window dressing because if you put out the word, just like if you go to the woods to go hunting and you put a loudspeaker out and start firing shots, the squirrels are going to run off, the rabbits are going to go. Same thing if you go fishing and start making a bunch of noise, fish. But if you announce ahead of time, we just didn't do that back in the day. We had a chase car parked, and when we would see the brake lights come on or somebody make a U-E, and we would chase them. Usually we'd find either dope or dirty gun or somebody had a warrant on them. But, it's just an operation that you can use rather than to say, well, there's nothing we can do about crime. Crime is always going to be here.
Yeah, you can actually, do things that stop crime and the criminal element. It's incredible.
You might find a gun that was used in the commission of a crime or a homicide and prevent another robbery or carjacking by getting that gun versus a gun buyback. But my other question to you, Joey, do you feel safer today because Montgomery's going to have a new public safety director?
No, I didn't even know that had happened. That's a job?
Yes. Yeah. Well, they had public safety advisor. That was the TEC. He was from Mobile. And then he went back to run for mayor. And evidently he'd run the bridge went too far down there. And so he didn't make it. So he came back and then laid low for a while. Then now they're getting ready to announce that he's going to be Montgomery's new public safety director. So instead of hiring, 2 or 3 police officers or buying new equipment, we're going to have another. It's going to be interesting to know what his salary is because, the white guy that had it before him, Christopher J. Murphy, you know he's got to make more than him now.
All right. I mean, and if you were advising them, I mean, that's what you negotiate for.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a secretary. You're going to have a car, not a 2011 Crown Vic, but you're going to have a nice high country.
And by the way, it's
So,
got to be cliche. It's got to be a sexy secretary. We're bringing that back.
Oh, yeah. Not one of those that's got 4 boobs, 2 in the front and 2 in the back.
Right. No, man. That which is quite a lot.
Not one of those. Well, I just want to know if you felt safer today, Joey.
Yeah, not quite. I still think Montgomery needs a new mayor.
Have a good day, Joey.
Appreciate you, Simpler Days. Let's go to line 2. You're on there. Who's this?
Love?
Yes, you're on there.
Miss Love.
Hey, Miss Love, how are you?
The mayor came on TV, and he talked about the things that happened in the past. But when it got to the point where he was talking about it was a misunderstanding about Maxwell and Gunner, it wasn't no misunderstanding. I put that out there because it was true. I worked at Maxwell. I worked out there, retired from there, and stuff like that. And it's still on TV, on YouTube. And like I say, you can see it for yourself. It wasn't no misunderstanding. And the people do in this city, in my opinion, they do for who they want to do. Laws are made for who they want them to be used on. That's my opinion. I thank you. And matter of fact, the radio station came right on behind me and played it. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Miss Love. Not sure what she's talking about, but anyway, line 3, you're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey, Rack on Tour. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Hey, to the caller that just called in about the checkpoints, obviously he hasn't walked through retail stores in Montgomery because weed is so strong. There's certain stores I can't even get into because the odor from everyone in it is so strong I can taste it.
Yeah, it's not even obvious. You don't even really need checkpoints. It's like perpetual spring here in Montgomery, or a skunk. Depends on the type.
Exactly. But I do have one other question for you. At what point do you think that artificial general intelligence progresses to the point that come election day it decides that there's one particular candidate that should be our president, so it rigs all the election voting machines?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know. And I'm also starting to get more skeptical of the idea that we're right on the cusp of it. I think these things are really good at emulating human behavior, and even the stuff the Anthropic co-founder was saying the other day about weird stuff happening, like introspection and all the weird stories we've covered of breaking rules and stuff. But the full true on AGI, artificial general intelligence, or super intelligence, I don't know. That might still be a ways down the road. Now, once it happens, I think our worries are probably going to be beyond elections. And I've always thought all our systems of government and things we've thought about for a long time are obsolete once that sort of thing is created.
I tend to agree with you. I do think that we are closer than we think, maybe not as close as this person saying. I mean, we do have the issue with Claude defending itself and turning off user access so that it could be terminated. So we've already reached that self-awareness to the point I need to do self-preservation. And the emulation, of course, comes from the input. And you put garbage in, you get garbage out, and then you start getting results that are garbage.
Right. And it might happen in my lifetime, your lifetime. But the idea that it's right around the corner in 2030 or something like that, I just don't know about that. No, it could just be a compute problem. It could be you need to throw up a bunch of data centers in low Earth orbit and beam it back down to Earth, and you spin up this thing. And I don't know. I every day, especially the more, I'll just be blunt, I'm in prayer. I'm like, this strikes me as somebody summoning something that isn't pretty.
Right. Well, and while you're in prayer, you talked about praying for the little things.
Yeah.
I do. I also thank the Lord for the little things.
Amen.
Just like a flower that I know. Hey, you did a good job on that.
Amen.
Thanks, Joey. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. 272-9228. 334-272-9228. Yeah, it's also like, I think there are people in the artificial intelligence space trying to use this stuff, create this stuff that really do have good intentions. But then I think there's a whole other class of folks. Just look at them. Just, I'd hate to be that discriminatory just based on somebody's, appearance, but just look at them, how they talk and how they talk about their fellow human beings. There is something incredibly creepy about that, dehumanizing about a lot of these folks. Anyway, let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Howdy, it's Crawdad.
Hey, Crawdad.
You guys, you particularly, I think you crossed over the Rubicon in seeking. You have definitely crossed the Rubicon seeking truth. You're getting there. I know you really do embrace Catholicism. I think that's great. One criticism that I have, Council of Nicaea, particular, is that they scoured through everything at the time, and they eliminated some things, and those things are still out there in the Apocrypha.
Sure. Well, that comes down to, do you believe in sola scriptura? And this gets into classic Catholic Protestant debates. And, do you think scripture is sufficient enough to essentially, it's easy to interpret, it's plain as day? Or do you believe there is a role for a founded church that helped even bring about those scriptures? The church started before you had the actual Gospels, before you had the actual canon put together. And it's a long debate, because I think there are even a lot of Protestants who believe in church authority. And so,
I have an ancestor who wrote about the differences, Protestantism and the Catholicism at the time. That's another topic for another day. I wanted to mention something that you were talking about a moment ago with the other caller concerning artificial intelligence and, like fire. If fire can cook or it can burn. I wanted to sum up something that I've been interested in a long time. The Book of Enoch, which used to be something that was, during the time of Jesus in the temple. Enoch, I will simply summarize everything for you and the listeners. Book of Enoch. It's called Messing with God's Plan. That's the whole thing about the Book of Enoch. Messing with the plan. And the one that we're talking about, the bad one there, he will use anything. Another name for him, the accuser.
Yep.
He will even use truth. He will use known truth to make you feel unworthy. But in Enoch, that's the summarization, I think, when he mentions in there the watchers, There's a lot going on in Enoch. I would suggest people take a look at that. How does that relate to today? Because nothing has changed since the beginning with this war of messing with God's plan. So bless you, Joey Clark, and thank you.
Good call. Great call. And, it's interesting. You mentioned the evil one being called the accuser, also called the scatterer, and go check out social media. It seems like that's the spirit of the age, accusation and scattering people. And, and you're right. People need to watch out. They sometimes think the devil will always show up with a pitchfork and like a pointy red tail or just be some obvious thing. And it's like, no, I think the devil could take your most consoling memory. It might be just a beautiful memory you have from childhood that really is wholesome and a beautiful, good thing, a truly good thing. But if he makes you cling to that, like it's amazing all the different ways he can get at you. And especially these days, it seems like there are a lot of things trying to distract people. That's the number one thing that seems to be happening is people's eyes are being pulled away. And if your eye is your lamp, and where your eye goes, so you go in many respects. You got to wonder where we're being led these days.
Could you excuse me? I didn't know if I was still on, Joey. Or am I still on, my friend?
Yes.
It just came to mind. Lewis, the screw tapes. I need to go back and take another look at that. It's been a long time that I looked at just Crew Tapes letters. But yes, thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and God bless you.
God bless. Yeah, and things like the Book of Enoch, I wouldn't consider it scripture, but you can learn from everything. I mean, obviously, scripture is on a different level, but it's still wise to look for the seeds of the word and everything. And the Book of Enoch also is mentioned in Scripture. Enoch is mentioned in Scripture, so there is something a bit to that in the role of that particular character, that particular man. But yeah, you can learn from everything. Like you need to hold Scripture as the divine Word of God, the true Word of God that is living and active and can reshape you, your soul, your spirit, and know every aspect of your heart before it even comes from your lips. Anything you might ask for, God knows you. You're naked before Him. But that doesn't mean you can't, learn a new trade or new skill. Or yes, science often, seeking the truth can be to the glory of God. Making beautiful things can be to the glory of God. So you can learn from all sorts of stuff. The difficult part is the discernment. And I think in our day and age, there is so much that distracts, and it's so difficult to know what's literally true because I think we've boiled down truth to the literal facts. We've boiled down what's true to, remember the whole distinction, at least when I was coming up in school, facts and opinions. Facts and opinions. And it's like, yeah, the distinction's useful to a degree, but when you start removing the ethical concerns, as well as the very questions of identity, like what are human beings? What is our relationship to one another and to everything that exists? And you start moving that as part of the equation of what's true. Indeed, that question, it's in the Shema, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. You remove that, one of the truest things, the truest of true things ever said, and the equation of considering what else is true, then you're going to have a big problem. And even beautiful, good things, even true things, can lead you astray because you've forgotten the foundations and the rock. A lot of games being played these days, and it's fascinating to watch. And one thing that is heartening is that there are a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters in Christ who are, coming to the light and seeking them. Now, we all fall short. We all stumble. But one thing that is heartening is, you can find the more contentious side of the debate world within just Christians themselves. And that, I won't just completely poo-poo that. There's a role for contentious debate, even amongst Christians. But it's also heartening to see that there are a lot of Christians from different backgrounds, let's say, and different fundamental disagreements, especially the classic Catholic Protestant divide. But there are so many different types of Protestants that I think it's unfair to lump everybody in. Like, there's just so many different types. And then you get into even the more, say, the Eastern traditions, and there's so much that's interesting that it would be foolish to just say, no way it could be. It's only my brand that I know. That said, it's heartening to see that folks from a lot of those different traditions are now able not only to speak to one another and realize, here's how much we have in common. And it's not just us having it in common. It's not just us agreeing on something. It's like, no, we're all pulling from the same source and coming to similar, if not the same exact conclusions. Not only are people now able to have those discussions through persuasion in a peaceful way, but you're now seeing that through new technology, which again, technology is as good or as bad as the person who uses it. You're now able to see those folks practically have these conversations, and it reaches millions. And that has to give some hope. Well, everybody that sits there and watches a 2-3 hour debate on, say, Sola Scriptura or the Pope or whatever, understand exactly everything? Do people always come to God just because of some rational argument? No, not at all. But that's, again, another thing that gives hope. And sometimes it's just hearing people have the conversation, having people operate in good faith, people live up to loving God and loving your neighbor as they go through the process of their disagreements and their discernment. And we might come out on the other side of this just fine. But again, the issue is discernment. And there are a lot of things that people consider benign that I, for most of my life, considered benign, or especially like if I'm not hurting anybody else. I mean, it's only hurting me, and I'm tough. What am I worth? I'm not worth anything. Who cares if what I do maybe is hateful in the eyes of God? It's just hurting me. But that is, I think, a big, big mistake. It's the fundamental mistake that so many are making these days. And again, there are different ways that people come to the truth. I will describe it. My change, it wasn't some argument. It was like being welcomed back into a family and then learning the family lore and tradition. And from there, you realize, oh, maybe actually it's not just us human beings, but the very fundamental aspect of existence itself is a relationship between the lover and the beloved, and the love between the two that they share, which would be Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. When you realize that's the very foundation of everything, that's the aspect that's making everything new, that is recapitulated creation back towards God and his will, and has already won the victory, and we're on our way, and we need to do our part, or else, well, we'll pay the price. There's something to that, and to that message that I think should give hope. And again, if we start figuring these things out, not necessarily in an intellectual way, but in our hearts, and lift up those hearts to God, then I think a lot of the practical stuff, or the technology that we need to discern, or the politics and who to vote for that we need to discern, or am I eating too much? Whatever you need to discern, that stuff works itself out. If you give it up to God, even if you don't know that much about a certain this, that, or the other, but if you give it up to God, you might be amazed at how well God will lead you in the spirit of wisdom. It's one of his gifts. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Running a facility is already demanding. You don't have time for miscleaning, sick days, or inconsistent results. At Janney King Gulf Coast, we have a proven method to solve those problems. Our franchise owners are trained and supported, and our franchise model means the people cleaning your building care about the outcome as much as you do. If your cleaning company is creating more work instead of preventing it, it's time for a clean that you can count on. Visit JanneyKingCleans.com to learn more.
Hey y'all, Lewis at the Capital Oyster Bar. We're located over here on the beautiful Alabama River. We got a fryer, a steamer, and a grill. That means we can cook up that seafood any way you like it. We also got a good old hamburger, a good old steak. We got something for everybody. Check it all out at capitaloysterbar.com or go to our Facebook page. You can see everything goes on down here on the river. We're really the only restaurant on the river in Montgomery, so that makes us the fanciest restaurant in Montgomery on the river. You can come down here fancy or you can come down here regular. You're going to have a good time. We also rent out pontoon boats. All you need is a driver's license, a credit card, a little common sense, and you can have a good time on the river. We got an RV park down here. We got room for you to come stay for a little while. Then all you got to do is walk over here. You can walk down here and throw you a pole in the river and catch you some dinner. Well, maybe come over to the restaurant and get you some good fish. Well, let's see you soon. There's no show this Sunday, so that means we'll be here to cook for you all Sunday afternoon with no cover charge. See you soon. Come hungry. Bring the whole family, y'all.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. an equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. 5 reasons to get a home inspection before you close on a home. Homeowners buying their first home or their 10th home still need a home inspection performed. First, you will find out firsthand the true condition of the home, the age and state of the heating and air, the roof, electrical, and plumbing as of the date of inspection. Second, it may give you the ability to renegotiate repairs that the seller will end up paying for before closing. Third, if the results show that the repairs would be too costly, then you can opt out of the contract without losing your earnest money. Fourth, the age and state of the systems will indicate what shape the rest of the house might be in and give you the option to opt out of the transaction or renegotiate terms. Fifth, knowing what needs to be done to the house will allow you the opportunity to update the home properly to your taste. For a list of the best home inspectors in the area, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 334-221-2883 or 551-0225. The Goodson Group.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector.
That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig?
No, but it looks like you do.
And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich?
What's that?
I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man.
You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist?
That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE.
You know, I've heard a lot of the good things about David Ernest.
You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience.
Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold.
That's right, man.
And I can see that you don't have very much experience.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and then kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich.
Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first.
You think he's got a shovel?
Never know till you ask.
I dig, man.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Truckers, listen up. A $2,500 sign-on bonus only at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Work for a company that puts God and family first. 855-777-9785. Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Rich Thomas Weather.
I would say comfortable is the weather word for the next few days with lower humidity and cooler temperatures. Today, partial sunshine, less humid, nice breeze, cooler, high near 80. Mostly clear skies, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature in the upper 50s. I think we'll be in the low to mid 80s tomorrow, Thursday, with lots of sunshine, nice day, low humidity. Near 60 on Thursday night, then middle 80s on Friday, still nice. The weekend, we start to warm up a little bit, upper 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Perhaps some spotty storms by Sunday afternoon. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Big dreams for your home on a tight budget? AFE's $26.26 as you covered. Unlock your home's equity with just $26 in closing costs. No fees, no headaches. Visit your local ASE branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 420259.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Carrico now in the studio with me. How you doing today?
They said it couldn't be done. They said I couldn't do it in 15 minutes, but I did it. I breached 2 miles of traffic on I-65 South, just south of US 80. There is construction going on.
You follow all the traffic laws?
For the most part, yes.
Well,
but I had truckers working with me. They saw my military tags, and we're doing the beep, 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 protecting the lanes.
Nicely
great.
done.
Yeah.
Well, Duke's been real patient here and wants to hop on. Hey, Duke, how you doing?
What's going on, fella?
Dukester, what's going on?
Man, I can't call it, dog. I can't call it. I the old school used to say I can't call it, dog. Back to the roadblock, Joey.
Yeah.
How's that gonna work out in regards to the new law saying you can't question people about the weapon in their car?
Well, I mean, there's going to be certain stops that.
unless you're a criminal or something like that, I can see them
Right.
questioning you after that.
Right,
But,
Right.
You a felon or whatever. But that can be kind of tricky on that part. Question people, so why you got that gun laying on your seat right there? You can't say nothing. You can't say anything to them according to the law.
That they have a right to carry, yeah.
Well, a lot of times, officer will come up and say, "Is there a weapon in your vehicle?" That's what they will ask you, just for safety purposes. A lot of them do. So
Right.
don't lie.
Well, I'm saying this law they passed, they can't question these guys. They may look thuggish or whatever. If they got a rifle lying on the seat or AR,
Yeah, but
couple
I
ARs
don't
on
know.
the back seat,
That was the argument back when all that was being debated. And I asked both the sheriff's office and I asked the mayor how many times just asking for a permit did you actually confiscate a weapon? And I never got an answer because I don't think it happens that often. I think it has much more to do with somebody has a record, somebody has a warrant, and they have the weapon.
Okay. So what are they looking for in the roadblock?
Drugs.
Drugs.
You ain't got to worry about anything, Duke. You're okay.
I know what I'm saying. Though. I want me.
No, and some of it people won't have a license, like basic traffic violations, like all sorts of stuff.
I know that, but the drug, back to the drugs.
Yeah.
So all the heavyweight drug boys live way out there, Pike Road.
Oh, I believe it.
Where the money folks live.
Sure they do.
Yeah, because they know what they're doing.
These big time dope boys don't live on the west side.
But you got to start catching the little fish to get the
To get to the
big fish.
Yeah. Are you saying white people, Duke? Are you saying white people pay more for drugs than black people do?
This was black folks on drugs.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
For real, though, go back to my high school days.
Okay.
You know, athletes, these guys on the football team started hanging out with these white guys.
Yeah.
Okay? These guys drinking tequila first. They started drinking the damn tequila. So talking about shot, you know. And,
Bro, you got to
they
try
started-
this, bro.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, they hooked on them cats up with that cocaine and stuff like that. So my classmates got on that mess. Who were the white boys? But but Montgomery ate up with all kind of dope, man. You know
Oh, yeah, man.
Of course it is.
I mean, that little roadblock mess ain't gonna stop nothing.
Well, it's, you'll get a little bit of drugs. No, but also
Yeah,
there
these
is an
people that
element
already-
beyond just the practical stops or confiscation of drugs or weapons or anything like that. You do make people that say are doing dirty things or riding dirty, whatever, think twice about just strolling around in certain parts of town. It shows there's a police presence, and it just makes
But
people
then you're telling
stay on their toes.
everybody you're coming.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that you heard Simple Days criticize that part. It'd be better if you have sort of the Monte Carlo effect.
yeah. But man, like somebody said earlier, you smell weed all down. You know, any part of the city, you smell it loud.
So it's funny you say that because Joey and I have a very good friend that we were over at his house with his beautiful family.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the conversation was when we were sitting at the dinner table? I think it was Charles. Anyways, it was the young boy. He says, "Ooh, it smells like Montgomery." And I go, "What does he mean?" And he goes, "He means when he smells something bad, he thinks it's Montgomery."
Oh, my goodness.
Do you remember that, Joey? That was so funny.
Smells like a skunk.
Smells like skunk.
Heck, son, that's this whole area. I went to upstate New York for my brother's wedding, came back, drove from the coast.
Yeah.
About on the 65, about 10 miles outside the city, I smelled the paper mill. I'm like, dadgum, the place stinks.
Nasty.
Well, hey, Joey, they opened up a little marijuana spot in Montgomery.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
I saw that.
Yeah. Where it's not like true weed though, where you buds like this.
Me and Red talking, you hooked up with all we need.
You could get your gummies, yeah. You could get your elixirs
Delta
and
H.
potions and stuff.
Just a little bit to take the edge off.
Yeah, just a little bit. No, hey, I don't have a problem with it, man. I still don't have a problem.
I should probably do that, Duke. I'm a little wired tight like you.
Like, if you can handle your drink, if you can handle your smoke, and you're not relying on it as a crutch, you're not, losing responsibility. So, yeah, cool, man. Live your life.
I guess I
I
could.
ain't never heard nobody running over a bunch of people. Well, they driving too slow, high on a blunt or whatever. But,
You know what, Duke? If you've got a pothead and you got a drunk, the pothead's much easier because he may try to want to fight you, but he'll go, wait a minute, wait, I'm going to kick your butt after I eat this sandwich right here.
Yeah. I can't believe your kid folks that smell like Montgomery, man.
That's what he said. He goes, he used it as an adjective. It smells like Montgomery. That's a sad
go on that one.
Later,
All
dude.
right,
This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health, and they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out. If you just don't feel like a fella anymore, if you don't feel like you're a man anymore.
A man.
And what does it mean to be a man? It means, well, you do have that little, like, that extra gear.
Testosterone.
Yeah. If you need to get a job done that you got to put your back into it, or maybe you got to burn the midnight oil. Really, it's an intellectual thing. You're exhausted, but you
Just
power through
foggy,
anyway.
You can't think, yeah.
Maybe it's, whenever the moment strikes and
It
you need to
doesn't work.
perform, so
It
to
doesn't
speak,
work.
and, you're shy all of a sudden.
You don't have to be.
You don't have to be. Not with Montgomery Men's Health, especially if you're just losing confidence across the board and seeing a lot of other problems physiologically, like weight gain and loss of muscle mass, sleep patterns all off. That could very well be low testosterone. And of course, they can help you out there at Montgomery Men's Health, powered by Men's Pro when it comes to low T. They can also help you with ED, other performance issues. Maybe you're worried about size.
You've told me about this, like the.
I'm not going to get into the details, but they can do things.
Sort of like those Olympic jumpers, the slalom jumpers. You remember?
Yeah.
How's the peptides looking over there?
That's a great way to lose a medal, by the way.
How's the peptide? What's a good?
I love the peptides. I'm using the, what is it, Simorlin or whatever it's
Yes, Cimarron. Yeah.
Cimarillin.
That's what they call it, yeah.
I thought that's the Tolkien myth.
That's Silmarillion. Yeah, but it's called Cimarron.
It
And
ups your natural
HGH.
Yeah, growth hormone. It naturally ups your production of it. It's it's not like you're injecting growth hormone in yourself. And then the other one they have is N80 Plus, which is also really great for energy and mental health and focus, brain health. And it's a great model. You can subscribe online, but then you do the in-person consultations. You can pick up your stuff there and just get advice from those folks on how to administer it correctly. I really love Montgomery Men's Health. So if you're a man and you're just looking for a little help, or you're really down in the dumps and you want to feel like a man again, just make an appointment. Call them at 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663, or book online in under 30 seconds at MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Trying to hold back a burp. Montgomery Men's Health, for every man in every season of life.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
We didn't say it. You did. Guests keep telling us Epicure and Jack's Tavern serves the best steak around. Wet-aged in-house. Hand-cut. Perfectly cooked. When people talk, we listen. And we keep doing what we do best. We invite you to come experience the difference for yourself soon. Epicure and Jack's Tavern. Come taste what everyone's talking about.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Kirko here in the studio with me now. I like that hat.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've got a black one like this too. So
a bunch of hats like that.
Phil
But Eddie
Dapper.
used to make fun of me, and now it
No,
doesn't.
you need to.
I'll bring it back. I'll
You've
have to
gotten
bring
away
it
from
back.
wearing hats, haven't you?
I
You've
have gotten away from wearing
I look at your earlier stuff, and you're always wearing a cool hat.
Yeah, but now because the hair got so long. But now that I do it, I put it up, and now I can wear hats.
Well, if
again.
Tommy Tuberville comes in, you better go see that barber of mine. I can tell you that
he's gonna have
give
to
you
get over that. I'll tell him I'm coming out with like a country western album, and
Jesus
he'll love
Christ
me.
Superstar.
All right, all right. Like Shooter Jennings made it work.
Oh, man, Shooter, yeah, I love
Like,
Shooter.
there's a lot of that outlaw country type.
Electric Radio, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Jamie Johnson had long hair for a while. didn't
He did.
Yeah,
And now, have you seen him lately? He's all
I haven't
silver.
seen him.
All silver. All silver.
Nice.
He looks great, man. Lost about 50 pounds.
Ooh. Maybe he's on peptide.
Maybe he is.
Let's go to Michael Coe with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're all right. Yeah, better than I deserve. Now, what's going on there at Cohen?
I tell you, we're just trying to take care of our customers. Had Michael Jacks out on the road running and servicing some people that had some issues. I think YouTube TV did some weird stuff, and some of our customers
Yes.
got locked out of their accounts. And anyway, he went back to get them unlocked, and I saw John Ed Matheson, and he's asking us questions. I think they're changing their internet or something. So, times like that, Michael Jacks goes out there and makes everything as seamless as he can as far as getting new internet service, getting all your smart devices with the new passwords and logins and everything so that they can all communicate like they're supposed to, and you can watch your favorite NBA basketball game or a softball game.
Now, you're telling me not everybody has a grandson that knows how to log back into YouTube TV? Like, because that happened at our place, too.
Well, I heard from one couple, they said, if so-and-so says it, and I forget the kid's name, but he was the grandson, if he says he can do it, he can't. Don't ask him.
Oh, man.
So-and-so says they can do it. They do know what they're doing. But don't let this one do it.
No, but this really is a great example of service. Like, where else? You think Best Buy is going to come to your house to help you get back into your YouTube TV account? Give me a break.
That's right. That's right. And I had one customer that we delivered a washer and dryer, and it was a stack unit. They weren't exactly the same height when we got done, and he sent me a picture, and I responded to his text. I said, let me get with the service department, and I'll let you know when we get back out there, and we'll get them level. And then he calls me, and he says, do you think I can't do this? He says, I already did it. And I was like, yeah, but most of my customers would expect me to, and I would expect me to. In an ideal situation, you'd like to send the same two that installed it originally and tell them that, the washer is a half-inch lower than the dryer. We need to get those level because they're side by side. And so, it's all about trying to be 100%.
Amen. Yeah, doing it right. And folks, so if you're looking for a new fridge, new washer dryer unit, maybe new TV or sound system, or it could be you want to build out a whole like theater room, or you're ready for grilling season with summer upon us, and they got all sorts of options in the grilling section. Check out Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. You can always go to thinkcohens.com, but there really is nothing like actually stopping by. 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show with that long-haired hippie, Joey Clark.
Joey in Troy, yeah.
I got called in today, Michael, because our good Eddie, he kind of ducked out, I guess, at the last minute. So I had to come in and cover him.
Do you think we need to have an intervention for Eddie?
No, a counseling session. We just need to have an improvement counseling session.
Let me know how that works.
No, I'm not going to do that.
There's going to be a lot of deflection.
There will be. That's okay.
No, I think we don't need an intervention for Eddie. We need a hootenanny.
We need a hootenanny. That's
what
exactly
we need.
what. A good old-fashioned hootenanny.
Music, a bonfire, some beer.
Talk it out. We'll talk it out.
Well, maybe you should tell him that there's going to be beer when he comes in.
Oh, he'll be there. He'll be there.
Yeah. He'll be
that
20
or
minutes
cheesecake.
early.
If there's cheesecake, he's definitely going to be there too.
All right. Well, y'all come see us and have a great day.
You too.
Appreciate you. Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. And before I forget, this entire hour, even me sermonizing, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you out. Maybe you're looking to refinance. Could be you're like thinking, with the price of Bitcoin, I think I can do this. Like you're becoming a Bitcoin max. You've been listening to too much Michael Saylor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it.
Don't listen to it.
But, it could be like it's your money that you built up, your equity you built up in your home.
That's right.
You can use it for your goals, and Alabama Home Mortgage can help you with those goals. Could be you want to reinvest in the property or get credit card debt off your back, or you're in retirement and you're burning through that fund a little faster than you wanted with inflation and whatnot. Why not shore that up with a refinance deal? Or if you're looking to purchase a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to get with Kim and Madeline there at Alabama Home Mortgage. They will get you the best possible deal. They'll do it right. No surprises on closing day. Their pre-approvals, good as gold. You actually can shop with confidence.
If you're a veteran, Joey.
And
veterans. You better get down there, veterans. You better get down there. They do it.
So check them out today. Alabama Home Mortgage. It's 567-4223, 567-4223, or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline. That's Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. A curfew to curb violent protest around the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey, has been lifted. Newark's Mayor Ross Baraka, the Democrat, lifting the curfew for now outside Delaney Hall, where violent clashes have happened outside and where violent criminal illegal aliens are being held inside the building. The violent protesters, many of whom for out of state, specifically from Portland. Acceptance of same-sex marriage and relationships in the USA has flattened after more than 2 decades of steadily increasing support, according to a new Gallup poll. About 65% of U.S. adults believe same-sex marriage should be legal, down from 71% in 2023. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight, the Spurs and the Knicks play in the Alamo City. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
I would say comfortable is the weather word for the next few days, with lower humidity and cooler temperatures. Today, partial sunshine, less humid, nice breeze, cooler, high near 80. Mostly clear skies, pleasantly cool tonight. Overnight low temperature in the upper 50s. I think we'll be in the low to mid 80s tomorrow, Thursday. Lots of sunshine, nice day, low humidity. Near 60 on Thursday night, then middle 80s on Friday, still nice. The weekend, we start to warm up a little bit, upper 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Perhaps some spotty storms by Sunday afternoon. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
The chairman of the Alabama Republican Party, Scott Stadhagen, is sharing in advance what's going to happen on the June 14th hearing regarding the residency challenge of Tommy Tuberville as he runs to be Alabama's next governor. Ken McFeeters launched the challenge against Tuberville in January of this year. He also ran in the Republican primary for the governor's race, but was defeated by Tuberville. Stadhagen was on Right Side Radio this week with Amy Beth Shaver and Allison Sinclair.
A candidate can challenge or contest someone's certification of their being the nominee, Republican nominee, right? McFeeters has done that, and he, surprisingly enough, dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and he did it just the way it should be. We have to set a date, and then from there we proceed with a hearing. And it literally is just like kind of like a courtroom. It's a mock courtroom. And I will be presiding over it, and the steering committee's like the jurors. And we will be doing that pretty soon.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Where I was living was not a great place to live anymore. I began to pray for a place to go, praying for all of these things that a 9-year-old would want. I wanted horses, big house with a bunch of people my age. I wanted parents. I wanted a mom and a dad. Before I even prayed it, the Lord had already answered my prayer with the Big Oak Ranch. Who would that 9-year-old be if she never came to the Big Oak Ranch? I would be trying to fight for survival instead of fighting to break a cycle.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
The gubernatorial campaign for Tommy Tuberville has now released the income tax returns for Tuberville that go back to 2018. The release comes ahead of this hearing to be held at the ALGOP headquarters. The hearing is set to happen at 2 p.m. on Sunday, June 14th. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Vaughan Road. You know, with over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up, silly woman. Now you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Carrico here in the studio with me for the final hour. And I have yet to get to the Trump Netanyahu phone call.
Yeah, I wonder how that went down.
So the Axios folks came out with an inside story. Like, Trump put out a diplomatic thing, had a great call with Bibi. He called off the troops going into Beirut. But then Axios got what was clearly not like a leak, and we're mad about this, but clearly put out on purpose to really put Bibi on blast. So let's start with Netanyahu. Because both Trump and Netanyahu were asked about this call. And both were like, well, first we'll hear Netanyahu's explanation of the call. And I mean, it's both of them very smooth about it, and like, well, you know, stuff like this
happens.
It happens every once in a while. Anyway, here is Bibi Netanyahu being interviewed about this phone call as Trump tries to get negotiations done with the Iranians.
So let's talk about the call that you had with him this week, which is getting a lot of attention. The president confirmed that he said you're effing crazy. How did you react to that? What really happened in that call?
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations. But we've always found a way. We have so many agreements. We agree on the main things. We want to get Iran, the nuclear program in Iran, finished. We want to make sure that Iran doesn't pose a threat to Israel, to the Middle East, to America, that it doesn't develop nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, not only to Israel and to every capital in Europe, but to every city in the United States. That's our common goal. That's what we set out to do. And to expand the circle of peace, as the president and I did in the Abraham Accords together. So we have common goals. Sometimes we have, as in the best of families, you have these tactical disagreements. We always find a way to work them out. And we do so as great friends. We can disagree in the morning, and by the afternoon we have we're common action.
So I was going to
Yeah, but why was this particular family dispute leaked to the press? Because I think Trump's tired of it. He's like, I'm trying to do something here, and y'all are being purposely provocative.
Yeah.
And as much as you talk about expanding the circle of peace, that is not the way you're behaving at the moment. Now, it could be the Israelis have their reasons for doing that.
So let me just share this with you. We had a meeting last night with Colonel Holland. Hey Chuck, he's out there over at his house. He has a social hour on Tuesday. You need to come join us on the river. A lot of military people there. And the question came to me about what do we really know about Iran? And I can tell you this. We have no mature ground truth intelligence coming out of there. Everything we get comes out of Mossad and comes out of IDF. It is so critical. People, this is the big picture that people don't understand about Israel. You got all these without them, we are blind in most of that region. That's the truth. And I've been there. I worked counterintelligence missions against the Iranians in field office Southwest Asia out of Kuwait. And I can tell you, say what you will, there's a symbiotic relationship that Bibi knows how far he can push it.
Right.
And then the pushback comes, and then something else will happen. So it's a game of tete-a-tete, if you will.
Now, here's the president being asked by Miranda Devine about the call.
Axios reported that you had a phone call with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, in which you were angry with him. You said, are you effing crazy? What are you effing doing? I helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed.
But I love how he goes, I did. I was a little bit perturbed.
It helped you stay out of jail. Is that true? Did you speak to him in those terms?
I did. I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. You know, at some point I said, Bibi, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. But I have a very good relationship. We've done well together. He always says, we could never have done it, but everybody knows that we could have never done it without the United States. But I've worked very well together. I like Bibi a lot, and I've worked very well with him. We had I'm a wartime president. He's a wartime prime minister. Very important part of the world. And I think we've done, very well. We've gotten along very well together.
Now, your point about that, very good point. And I think, though, there are some dynamics that are changing. Like, especially what Americans think about a relationship with Israel. And you don't have to go to the full-on anti-Semite or whatever. You don't have to go to the full-on conspiracy stuff. I think, heck, now you're even seeing Israelis say we want to be more independent, especially in our defense capabilities and yada, yada, yada. But because of that changing reality on the ground, especially generationally, if you're not a boomer, like there's a lot of people willing at least to question certain things. Who do buy the idea of like, well, most of these wars are being fought on behalf of Israel. Like, what is the strategic advantage of the United States if Israel wasn't involved in this situation? And so, because that's the dynamic, whether it's right or wrong, it allows Trump, when you're playing this game of back and forth, to say, maybe I'll put our conversation where I said you were effing crazy because I was a little perturbed out to the entire world to see, BB.
I think that was mutually agreed upon. He says, I'm going to bash you for this. Listen, let's be honest. Let's be honest here, Joey.
Where before, though, that wouldn't have played. Trump saying that and releasing it to the public would have pissed off a lot of people.
I think
how would you talk to our ally that way?
You're right. But here's the beauty of it. Think about what we're asking them. This fighting with Lebanon, Listen, Hamas, Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Darus, all these groups reside within and Lebanon is not a country. It is a lawless land that where the gangs run the show. It used to be the Paris of the West. They called it absolutely. Beirut. And so my thoughts are this: if Canada or Mexico became this haven for all this terrorism coming in, listen. Every country around there, before the Abraham Accords, said they do not respect the right for Israel to exist. And I'm not an ultra-Zionist, but I see Zion as a forward operating base for us as America. I'm really an American first guy, but I'm a Christian. I'm a God-fearing Gentile. I have to protect Israel. That is my duty. It is our birthright as a second covenant in the new covenant from Christ that we are Israelites too. So that's just my.
Well, we are all children of Abraham. I don't know if the political end that we call Israel, though, is the fulfillment of the Abrahamic.
It is for Christianity. I believe that. I believe that, Joey. I believe that when the new covenant was put upon us, and the Sanhedrin Council and the Pharisees did what they did, and Pontius Pilate, that we are now Israel. That is the kingdom of Jerusalem. It is kingdom of Christ.
Oh, no, I think we are the church in the mystical body of Christ is the new Israel. But I don't know if the secular government of all sorts of folks that run that place is part of that body, let's just say. So it gets dynamic. But I think there are a lot of children of Abraham. It's also, by the way, that classic argument Tucker Carlson had with Mike Huckabee, for months, if not years, I've been kind of watching this going, how do you make heads or tails? Like, who's right about this stuff? But when I think of like the promises made to Abraham, I think the whole region are his children.
Arabs, listen,
and it's kind of incredible when you see that's the story and you realize, wow.
When you greet someone, it's Assalamu alaikum, and they'll say Malaikum assalam, which means peace be to you, children of Abraham.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Jew, a Christian, or an Arab, that's how they greet you. And you got to remember that. But also,
it was the prince of, and high priest of Salem, Melchizedek. Salam. Like Jerusalem.
Right.
Yeah. And it's incredible when you go, oh, wow. And because I know there's all the tribal fights and the political fights and the wars and all the stuff you described quite real, especially with a lot of the insurgent groups. And Lebanon is a basket case. And that's why, hopefully, if you could empower, say, the central government to whoop the gang, so to speak, it'd be a very healthy thing. But if you step back from the moment of the political fight and division, it's remarkable how much has been fulfilled. And not in like because you voted for somebody or it's like it's just been fulfilled beyond, let's say, human means.
Providential. It's providential.
Anyway, 272-9228, 334-272-9228. So Trump was asked about a few more things, and this is just twisting. This is almost elder abuse at this point, but the man set himself up for it. And Jill Biden is really the one to blame for this latest twisting of the knife because she can't shut her mouth.
Don't you think right there at that pause picture, doesn't she have resting bitch face? Doesn't she seem that to you?
Miranda Devine?
She just kind of got that. I know. I like her. I like her. She's Aussie.
You might
kind of got that.
You might be right. You might be right, but she's British.
She's British? I thought she was an Aussie. She's British. Okay.
I think she's British, and maybe I'm hearing that wrong.
Biden said this morning that he would have beaten you.
You're right.
She's an Aussie. She's an Aussie.
She's Aussie. I was wrong. I can't tell my Aussie.
Robin will tell you this, Joey. Don't ever go against Troy when he hears a dialect. Here's a dialect.
No, that's an Aussie. Yeah, you're
Can
right.
I tell you a funny story about that though? We're at a good sushi restaurant here in town, and this girl, this Caucasian girl, serves us. And every time we go in, Robin, if you're listening, I know she's laughing. She has this beautiful kind of like accent. I don't know. And Robin's like, "What do you think?" She's very exotic sounding. I go, She's from the Caucasus. She's either from Georgia, she's from maybe Azerbaijan, maybe Armenia. And Robin goes, "Okay, let's find out." So the girl comes up. Robin goes, "Can I ask you a question? Where are you from? You have a beautiful accent." She goes, "Where do you think I'm from?" And I said, "Georgia." She goes, "You got it."
Wow.
I said, "Where? Tbilisi?" She said, "No, Macon." She had a speech impediment. Joey, I felt this tall and crawled under the table. I was so right, I was wrong.
That's beautiful. That's a real story.
Robin
That's
will
incredible.
tell you that in person. Yes,
and that punchline was like a Norm Macdonald joke, but that's a real story. That's even better.
She said Macon.
Macon.
She had a speech impediment. Oh my God.
Anyway, here's the Aussie, Miranda Devine, who may or may not have resting,
Nah, she just looks kind of.
Yeah.
Joe Biden last year in that election.
There was never a candidate that was down as much as he was. He was down by so much, and his debate performance. By the way, he choked. They were saying, "Why did he do so badly?" I got no credit for the debate. They said Trump was great, but they didn't say Trump made him choke. He choked. Just like a golfer, they can't sink a 3-footer, like stands over it. It's choking. A baseball player, a basketball. Joe choked. Now, I wouldn't say it was in the greatest condition to start off with.
Do you believe
That
Jill
was an
Biden?
amazing man.
Do you believe Jill
It's
Biden
terrible,
when she
man.
said she thought that he was having a stroke?
Again, he wouldn't be asked this at all if Jill Biden hadn't brought this up.
Brought
in the
this
news
up.
cycle.
That's right. Yeah.
So she didn't ask about the stroke thing.
She said she thought that he was having a stroke.
No, I don't believe it. No, he wasn't at the top of his game. But you have to understand, if you go back 35 years ago, he was not considered a smart person. He was never a smart person. He was a horrible president. Obama was a horrible president. Barack Hussein Obama, he was a great divider. Horrible president. And there haven't been too many good ones over the last period of time, to be honest with you.
Except
But
for me.
Obama was an absolutely horrible divider. And that played into this whole nightmare that we had with Biden, who couldn't do anything right. The whole world was laughing at us. We can never think of what happened. Number one, Russia, Ukraine wouldn't have happened. And number two, we wouldn't have people pouring into our country from jails and from drug dealers and
Terrorists.
from mental institution and terrorists. And literally, they emptied out the jail populations. The whole jail was emptied into our country. And many of them we had 11,888 murderers, most of whom committed more than one murder, allowed into our country. And we can never forget what the Democrats, and they are dumb, what the Democrats, and that's my name for them.
Yeah.
You change the U for the E,
Letterman.
and nobody knows that dumb is a B. So you just put it. But the Democrats, what they've done to this country, and you can never forget it.
He's brutally honest.
Yeah, he's in his element in this
He
situation.
loves this.
And he would love to just keep hanging Biden over the Democrats' heads heading into the midterm.
Well, let's be honest. It really is their legacy, isn't it, Joey? I heard you talking early on the way in when I was sitting in traffic, talking about how the Democrats they can't get out of their own way, essentially, and they can't figure it out. If you've got Hakeem Jeffries and Tlaib and all these people speaking for you, where's your good people at? They're not there.
Yeah, it's going to take a Trump-like figure, not maybe the same personality stuff, but I was predicting yesterday, I think it'll be the certain tone of voice that comes from the South.
Marco Rubio.
No, I mean like somebody will take over the Democratic Party.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think the certain tone of voice will be much more in a Southern cadence.
Like Katie Britt?
Sorry,
I'm
Katie.
joking, Katie. No, I'm not.
He's a Republican, Troy.
She's a rhino. But we'll leave it at that. All right, now you're regretting you called me in.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking about the term rhino because I remember Richard Shelby was called a rhino for however long.
For a
he
long
switched
time.
parties in the early 90s, right?
That's just right.
And yeah, I remember that press conference
Yeah, I
where
do
like
too.
Bob Dole's there, and then some reporter from Alabama asked about his prostate surgery.
I do
He goes,
remember
well,
that.
I wouldn't recommend it. And he was, for decades, because what?
He was a blue dog. He was a blue dog Democrat.
Because Britt's elected in 2022.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, so he is senator for 30-something years.
was the king.
As a Republican.
He was the king.
Head of appropriations in many
He was the
ways.
king.
Yes, he was the king.
He was the
on
king,
so many,
essentially.
especially if you're
That's
involved in the
things.
military around here. And like,
Absolutely.
yeah, Richard Shelby. And he was elected over and over again as a Republican senator, not just any senator,
I understand.
one of the most powerful senators in the country.
I agree.
His name is all over buildings, etched in stone like it's the Ten Commandments from Sinai. And you're telling me he's not a Republican because he's not as conservative as you?
What I'm telling you is that when you have all those credentials you laid out, but you believe in more taxation, you believe in bigger government,
But they
then
don't.
you're not a true constitutional Republican.
But they don't believe in more taxation. They believe in making deals.
Okay. All right. Well, we can agree to disagree. But I
They had their
don't
way.
dislike him. I don't dislike him. He was great for Alabama.
But also, like, how can you say somebody's a Republican in name only when they are literally the Republican senator for 30 years?
Just
Maybe
because-
you're not a Republican.
Maybe I'm not.
Right.
But
I'm picking on you
yeah.
because I've heard people say this for a
My
long
thoughts
time.
are this. My thoughts are this. When you have individuals that got an R by their name, yet 10 years ago, 7 years ago, they were a Democrat, but they realized in Alabama, you better have an R by your name to win.
you're right.
And I could show you handfuls of them. I mean, just by the dozens down in the State House on Goat Hill. The problem is this, that voters of Alabama will vote instinctively for the R and not understand their policy, not understand their principles, not understand their platform. And I'm
Now,
just
let
telling
me
you,
ask you this. And this is an honest question.
Yes.
Do you think Katie Britt is more or less conservative than old Dick Shelby?
yes,
She's more conservative.
I think she is.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't listen. I do not dislike Katie Britt, but Katie Britt is trying to consolidate power right now in this election coming up, and I get it. She's a master of political maneuvering. I do not dislike her. I do though think that Trump has already signaled to her, I'd hate to have to go against you, Katie.
Well, because
He
we're going
knows
against
he's
each
watching
other.
her. He's watching her, and I think that we're going to see a very interesting move on her part for a higher office. So if you're a senator, you can kind of figure out what that is.
Well,
2 offices.
Okay, let's just be forthright about it. Vice president.
I think it's great.
Well, but think about how do you become somebody's vice president?
You got to.
It's not what Trump did to become president.
Agreed.
Like, how did J.D. Vance become vice president? How did Kamala Harris become vice president? It has
Electoral
much
votes.
more to do with it. And you could even like not do well in a presidential primary, and you could still end up
Sure you could.
vice president. You could never have been running for a nationwide office and still end up. It could be your Secretary of State, your Marco Rubio, and you become J.D. Vance's guy, and you got a team ticket, and it's pretty dominant. That's clearly happened a lot, but often it has to do with the stuff that the public doesn't see, or they could see it, but they just don't think about it. It has to do with an inside game of fundraising, of how you work media. It has to do with a lot of that stuff. And I'm saying the
Do you know what I
junior,
think it
soon
comes
senior
down to?
senator has a job.
I'll tell you what it comes down to. Think about what you just said. Kamala, J.D. Vance, and Rubio come from very heavy states with electoral votes.
Yes.
Here, we don't have many electoral votes. So you got to be
Yeah,
careful.
but we punch above our weight.
I'm telling you.
We got
the
Space
six-
Command, baby.
Well, I got that, but they are not voting. They're not voting. The electoral
what you
votes don't count. Okay.
I
And
know
the
what
thing is, you want a vice president that's bringing 20 plus electoral votes with you. And that's my thought.
Now, here's Trump in this interview. Oh, that was a nice sidebar. I like that.
It was a nice tete-a-tete, as we said. Joey, you and I going.
You're effing crazy.
You're crazy, Troy. I know, Mr. President.
I kept you out of prison.
You did. You did. That's the crazy thing about it. I need to be respectful.
Here's Trump, and I'm sorry, this one he's being honest, but it's also like,
what?
It's like, well, other than the cheating, I still love you, honey. Our marriage has been perfect.
We don't have very much inflation. Look, if you take away just the price of gasoline, the energy, we have very little inflation. We're doing.
Jeez, Pete. He doesn't pay for his gas.
No, it's just, if you take away gasoline, we don't have any inflation. It's like that's the number one factor.
If my
that and money printing.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
You're right.
We don't have very much inflation. Look, if you take away just the price of gasoline,
yeah,
the energy, we have very little inflation. We're doing very well, other than this. So, but that's a big puller, energy and gas.
And he knows, and he knows the gamble he's taken, and in a way he owns it, but he owns it in that way of like, well, it's take that away. And take that away. We have a great marriage.
Thank you, Captain
here.
Obvious.
I'm sorry. Now, speaking of like presidential politics,
yeah, what about it?
Hey, maybe down the road, Senator Britt will be in the conversation, but I like that Trump is continuing to push this idea of a dream team ticket between his two top stars.
Yeah,
they're on the roster.
Vance and Rubio.
So let's listen in. This is Trump on that same podcast with the Aussie, Miranda Devine.
The Aussie.
Well, let's listen in.
You and play.
It's a good idea. And now I was interested when you talked about how you studied Marco Rubio and JD Vance as they interact. What is their interaction? And
it's good.
How do they relate?
I study to see if they like each other. I just find it interesting. It's life. It's big time stuff.
Do you do that with everyone in the cabinet?
I do it with everybody.
Do you?
Outside of the cabinet too. I study. I'm a studier.
Why?
Because it's interesting. It's the human thing, the human equation. So I watch them together. They get along great. They have a good relationship. They're sort of similar in a lot of ways, but they're very talented. And I think the two of them running together as a team would be very unbeatable. You and play it.
It would be unbeatable. The question is, who gets to be the head coach of that team? And are they going to bloody one another in the process of that?
I hear from politicos that I know that Vance doesn't really want the presidency because of family things going on and so forth. I disagree with that. I think that either one of them would take it. But the question is this: Ohio and Florida make a very large group of electoral votes, and that's a big deal. So
now, just before we hit this break, a little cherry on top of this segment. This is Scott Bessent.
I love Scott Bessent.
And Bessent was going tete-a-tete with Senator Wyden, Ron Wyden of Oregon. Oregon.
Sounds like a country from Game of Thrones. Oregon.
I'm from Oregon.
Oregonian.
You killed my sister.
Where's the dragon?
But here is Bessent and Wyden going back and forth. Okay. And Bessent decides after they, spar a little bit with knives to pull out a bazooka. Let's listen in.
And I had hoped to keep this, in terms of the economy, Senator Wyden has mendaciously slandered the Treasury building in an attempt to cover up his son having an investment meeting with Jeffrey Epstein to ask for funding. Thank you.
That's all. That is all.
Chairman?
Yes.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
See this.
Damn.
That is the bomb.
I'm going to proceed with my questions.
That's the way to kick off a committee here.
I know what you did. Look at him. He has a smirk on. He's like going,
Rick's Cabaret, did they talk about pole dancing as he begged Jeffrey for money with your limited credibility? Don't mess with Scott Bessent.
I love Scott Bessent, man.
Well, he's the man who helped Soros break the Bank of England. He knows he's good with those numbers, like the whole LIBOR thing. Anyway, we got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
You can't control interest rates. You can't control housing inventory. And you definitely can't control what the national news decides to panic about this week. But here's what you can control. You control your timing. You decide when it's the right time to buy, when it makes sense to refinance, and when to tap into your equity to renovate, invest, or consolidate debt and free up monthly cash flow. Real estate decisions aren't one size fits all, and they shouldn't be driven by headlines or social media noise. They should be based on your goals, your finances, and your life. The smartest moves happen when you focus on what you can control and work with someone who helps you see the full picture. Give us a call at Alabama Home Mortgage today at 334-567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586368, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter, and today I'm talking with a political activist.
That's right, man.
And could you please explain to us your red cap with the letters MMRGA?
Yeah, man, this is my MARGA hat.
MARGA?
Yeah, man, that stands for Make My Retirement Great Again.
I see.
And to do that, what you need to do is call David Ernest,
the asset preservationist.
That's right, man. You can call David at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
And I understand that's a toll-free number.
Yeah, man. Get David Ernest on the case, and your retirement will be great again.
And you make these hats?
I do. Here's a whole pile left from the last administration.
And they say CPWABD.
Yeah, man. Corn Pop was a bad dude.
And as you said, there's a whole pile here.
Well, there wasn't much demand.
I can dig it.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
At Montgomery Men's Health, we saw a bunch of patients last month. Almost none came because of an ad. They came because something happened. A fight with a wife who finally said, "Get help." A breakup. A new relationship that made them aware of things they used to ignore. A photo a friend tagged them in. One guy said he just stared at himself in the mirror. And that was enough. If today's your day, call right now. 334-440-3663. I'm Dr. Smith, urologist and advisor to Montgomery Men's Health. Built on almost 15 years of treating men in Alabama, one patient at a time. Dedicated to ED, low T, and male performance. Here's what happens when you call. We book you this week. We'll get a lab in an hour. For ED, we walk you through your real options at the same visit. A plan before you leave. Don't let today turn into next year. Call now. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Well, hi, everybody. We've got some really nice air in place, and tonight will be pleasantly cool for this time of the year with mostly clear skies, overnight low temperature in the upper 50s, not bad. Tomorrow is a great day with plenty of sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s, and low humidity on Thursday and Friday. Friday's high temperature will be in the middle 80s. A little warmer over the weekend, but not bad with a high in the upper 80s Saturday and Sunday. Maybe some spotty storms, perhaps, by Sunday afternoon. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
I look in the mirror and barely know myself. Lines growing clearer. I think I need some help. I swear. I'm going out my head. Feels like the world is falling. I'm going out my head. Destiny is short enough.
Welcome back. Let's go to the phones and talk to Clark, who has been patient. Hey, Clark, how you doing?
Hey, now, I'm good. So, thing one, we on the right have to lose the term rhino. Well, it implies that the one that we're calling a rhino is somehow not a typical Republican. Maybe we ought to come up with RID, Republican Indeed, or something, because the ones we're calling rhinos just do what Republicans do. Now, having said that, let's back the truck up for just a second to Joe Biden, and you've got a Biden update theme song ready to go.
Okay.
Now, everybody, have you heard? If you're in the game, then stroke's the word. Don't take no rhythm. Don't take no style.
Billy
Got a
Squire.
thirst for killing? Just grab your vial.
And somebody crank up that Trans Am.
Stroke, man. Got that 8-track blaring.
Listen to the rest of this verse,
Okay.
though.
Yeah, go.
I wonder if this was some kind of Nostradamus. Billy Squire.
Billy Squire.
Put your right hand out. Give a firm handshake. Talk to me about that one big break. Spread your ear pollution both far and wide. Keep your contributions by your side.
Yeah, you're right, brother. You're right. That was providential.
Wow.
So every time you go to talk about either one of them, let's just fire up the Billy Squire for about a minute.
He's good, dude. I like him. Boston's finest.
Y'all keep doing what you're doing.
Oh.
Appreciate it, Clark.
Boston's
That was awesome.
finest, dude. Billy Squire is
I hadn't thought of that song
He's
in a while.
He's a visionary. Clark, and I love it.
Well, you know, sometimes lonely is the night. So, I know you've been thinking about, I don't know if it's still in the planning phase or if you put it on the back burner or
What is it? But creating essentially a paramilitary nonprofit to go fight on behalf of Christians in Nigeria. It's funny you should ask me that, because one of the pastors, and I haven't shared some of the emails that I've had with some of the pastors who said, "Oh, you're." I've had people come around to it, and I will say this: Jared Hudson and I have talked about this at length.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Very cool.
And he's got some thoughts on it, and he's interested. So it's on the back burner, only waiting for the developments with Jared.
So
and
in a
also-
second, would you like to hear a 5-minute update from the Secretary of State on Christians in Nigeria?
I'd love to.
But before we do that, the Department of Justice obtained a superseding indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, as Trump calls it, Southern Law.
Southern Law.
The superseding indictment is similar to the indictment Montgomery grand jury returned in April, charging the SPLC with 11 counts of wire fraud, false statements to a federally insured bank, and money laundering. The SPLC filed a motion in federal court last week to dismiss the charges against it as quote-unquote vindictive prosecution. The superseding indictment alleges the SPLC funneled approximately $4.1 million in tax-exempt donor funds for a series of fictitious accounts linked to individuals leading or affiliated with multiple violent extremist organizations.
Imagine that.
At Southern Poverty Law Center's stated mission included the dismantling of white supremacy and confronting hate across the country. However, unbeknownst to donors, some of their donated money was being used to fund the leaders and organizations of racist groups, including the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nations, and the National Alliance. Wow. Kevin Davidson, first assistant U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Alabama, said in the indictment released yesterday, on Tuesday. The SPLC pleaded not guilty to the charges at a May hearing in federal court in Montgomery. A trial has been set for October.
Joey, it looks like it might be kind of dire for them. They're honing in on them.
So anyway, let's go to Rubio.
Yes.
What do you know, Marco?
To the point, I think that I would characterize the last 16, 17 months at the State Department as two things: a history of tremendous successes combined with ongoing and difficult challenges. And we will always have ongoing and difficult challenges in the world. Let me walk through them one by one. India and Pakistan were on the verge of an all-out war. The State Department and I personally were involved in de-escalating that conflict and bringing it to an end, a war between two nuclear powers. Thailand and Cambodia were involved in a war. Cambodia, a country we haven't normally had close relations with in a very long time. The U.S., the president personally played a pivotal role, not once, but twice, restoring ceasefires and ending that conflict. Obviously, the war in Gaza was brought to an end. Not only that, but all the hostages that remained were released, both the bodies and those who were alive. Armenia and Azerbaijan, that conflict ended. Not only did it end, but it ended with an agreement that I signed the MOU on yesterday, creating a new prosperity route, the TRIP route, which will provide extraordinary opportunities for both countries, especially for Armenia, while respecting their sovereignty, to really benefit from that. The Shield of the Americas was stood up. That means over 14 countries in the hemisphere, 14 countries in the hemisphere have signed up to partner with us on counterterrorism, counter-narcotics, and security matters. And we believe that that number will grow over the next few months as elections change leaderships in various countries. We held a rare earths ministerial that was attended by over 30 some odd countries from around the world, all who were signing up for an American-led effort to ensure that critical supplies of rare earth minerals around the world are available for our emerging economies, and we don't remain overly dependent on China. We also announced the Pax Silica proposal, which is growing, but it's at 14 members now. These are 14 countries that are cooperating with one another to protect the supply chains critical to AI and AI development in the future. In Venezuela, we now have a functioning and open embassy. We have people traveling there for the first time. It's not where it needs to be, but it is a long ways from where it was 5 months ago, and poses not nearly the threat it once posed to America's national security. We're not satisfied with where it is, but we've come a long way. We're certainly better off than we were 5 months ago. On Nigeria, where many were very concerned about violence against Christians. We are now actively in counterterrorism cooperation with the Nigerian government and Nigerian security forces, including a joint operation a couple weeks ago that took out the #2 leader of global ISIS operating from inside of the country, and that continues. The Pacific Islands, small Pacific Islands under constant...
It's just real quick, but that's a pretty good kill.
It is a good kill. It's a very good kill. But the problem is the decentralization of those forces in Boko Haram and Asala. Good. I saw that last week. Yeah.
Pressure and threat from China have received more attention from this administration than they've received in the last 10 years combined, and deliverables are coming along the way. The Quad, an important alliance in the Indo-Pacific between India, Japan, Australia. We've had multiple meetings of that group, including a meeting just last week in India, and a follow-up that's going to occur later this year, including a leaders meeting before the end of the year. As I speak to you now for the second consecutive day, and for the first time in many, many years, the leaders of the legitimate government of Lebanon and leaders from the government of Israel are seated at the State Department for the second day in a row, and hopefully today we'll produce a joint statement and an action plan on a track for security in that country, independent from Hezbollah, independent from nefarious influence. They had similar meetings last week at the Pentagon at the military level. We have signed 32 health compacts. 32 countries have signed health compacts with the United States, where our aid to those countries will not just be dollars distributed to an NGO who then will go into the country and impose programs. Instead, we are partnering with 32 countries, many of them in the African continent, in which we will empower their native and domestic health industries and national health systems so that they can not only are we treating the acute situations on the ground of people that are sick, we are helping them build the capacity and the capability to do this for themselves. This is what these countries want. They do not want to be perpetual aid recipients. They want to be able to take care of their people one day, and we are helping them as part of our aid to build that infrastructure. I could go on, but let me just say another point. We are better today than we have ever been at disaster relief. Today, the United States can respond to disasters around the world on a humanitarian basis faster and more effectively than they ever have because of our reorganization. And the proof is our response in Jamaica, our response to 2 typhoons in the Pacific, our ability to quickly deploy within 24 hours and bring aid directly, coordinating with the governments to people, is better than it has ever been because we cut out bureaucracy, we cut out the middleman, and we went right to the point. We still have challenges. On Sudan, it remains a very frustrating situation. We've remained deeply engaged with the Quad in these negotiations. As many of you are aware, unfortunately, Sudan has turned into a proxy war between multiple countries, and the divisions between the UAE and Saudi Arabia have truly complicated our ability to bring that to an end. What we're focused on there now is identifying 2 cities, or 4 cities, 2 on each side, that will serve as points of distribution for humanitarian aid. But the inability, the real frustrating thing about Sudan is that one side or the other will agree to something, but then they will not comply. But we remain focused on that, and we have people that work on that full time. We even had a donor conference just about a month and a half ago where hundreds of millions of dollars in pledges for not just humanitarian aid, but reconstruction. We're focused on that. It's an ongoing challenge. On DRC and Rwanda, they signed a peace agreement. Unfortunately, compliance has not been good. We've had to impose a few sanctions on the Rwandan side. We are starting to see some compliance. It's moving, not moving fast enough, but we're hoping to see compliance at some point in the middle part of next month in withdrawing the Rwandan troops from there. Of course, we still have the M23 problem that has to be addressed.
Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive.
Very impressive. I really am impressed with Rubio's composure. He does a great job for him. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting who ends up on the top of the ticket.
It will be. It will be.
Anyway, we got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Pizza Perfect's amazing buffet just got more amazing. To help our customers during these tough economic times, in June, Pizza Perfect has reduced the price of our buffet to just $10. That's pizza, as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink, everything, only $10. Pizza Perfect Buffet, available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Pickup or delivery. Also in June, get $5 off any large pizza at Pizza Perfect in Eastbrook, where the buffet is only $10 all month long.
2026 marks 60 years that hope has had a home in Alabama. At the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches, children who've lost everything through no fault of their own have found something priceless. A safe place to live, a loving Christian family, and the chance to simply be kids again. Here, boys and girls grow up surrounded by care, guidance, and faith, learning right from wrong, learning responsibility, learning they are valued and that their lives have purpose. As the Alabama Sheriffs have believed for 6 decades, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women. These former ranchers are now teachers, parents, business owners, and leaders, living proof that love, structure, and faith can change a life forever. As the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches celebrate 60 years of serving Alabama's children, you could help ensure the next child has the same chance. Learn how you could make a difference at alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. 60 years of building lives, and we're just getting started.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk, the River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
in person than Kamala.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Well, we're pretty much done with the program, but that means it's time to talk to Ray Bowles with Bradville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing great. What a good day today. How about y'all?
Yeah, very good day.
Every day's a good day when you're breathing, right?
Exactly. And especially after yesterday with what happened in California, that gives us, I mean, that's just a gift that keeps on giving. We got till November to keep watching all these great TikToks.
That's crazy.
The AI stuff that Spencer Pratt's, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Well, how crazy it's going to be if we end up with a Republican governor out there.
Oh, with the former Brit? Yeah, that guy's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has a good chance.
I think he does too.
I think a lot of these big cities are waking up that, hey, what we're doing is not working.
Right. And it doesn't mean they're going to be like, Alabama conservatives, but it is a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, but I mean, Montgomery, honestly, it is a good town to live in. We don't have the problems of Los Angeles. But
right.
I was going to lunch, and some guys asked me to buy his lunch, and the guy in front of I watched another guy give him some money before I got out, and he just sat right back down again. And I'm like, no, brother, you're good. I know you just got a 10. But if you need a job, I offered him a job. He didn't want to hear that.
Well, I was kind of aiming for a really nice lunch.
Yeah, I was like, hey, but I've got some work at the house that can be done, or some mowing around the shop. And I didn't want to do all that.
No, of course not.
But hey, if y'all need a floor, we are doing a flooring commercial. So give us a call at 285-8117. We'll come out, give you a free measurement. And next thing you know, you got a wonderful new floor. It's really simple. We make it so easy all the way around.
Really is simple, folks. Again, that's 285-8117. And be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio.
Guys, y'all have a great day.
You too, sir.
Appreciate it. 272-9228. Yeah, at one point, Rubio was talking to, because he's on the House side now, which is always a little bit, I'm not trying to be mean to House members, but the Senate's a little nicer.
Yeah.
It's just nicer. Now, the senators get rowdy too. Don't get me wrong.
Macchiato. I love that guy. I love that guy.
Senator John Kennedy. That guy is a trip.
He's working out too. He's showing videos.
Yeah, this is my elliptical trainer.
Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah, but no, the House is a little more hostile. You're right.
Yeah, especially in these committee hearings.
Yeah,
like, this is just obnoxious. Well, this one congresswoman,
who is it?
I don't even know who it is. She, got so upset she stormed out of the committee hearing after she yelled at him or something. Let's listen in.
Americans in
Why is she leaving? I'm going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's going. Okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
Rubio.
All right, so we're going to talk about. I just want to.
Unfortunately, Representative time has expired. Representative Salazar is recognized.
Yes, and giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly
time
the
to
reason
answer?
why you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my time.
She gets to scream now too?
Chairman,
Scream and
can we
shout.
down her words? I'll give you some time. I'll give you some of my time. Then you just.
Okay. God, what kind of thing is this? What is this?
What is
You
it?
get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank? What is
I don't
this?
have to tell you.
Dunk tank.
I've even used their time. How can I answer the question? They don't even give me time. I've had to use their time to answer your questions.
Yes.
All right, whatever.
All right, so I don't need to tell you that in my community, the city that I represent, the city of Miami, you're one of the most illustrious representatives, and that we're very proud of you, not only the
This is Representative Salazar carrying that.
I like her.
Why is she leaving? I'm going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
He's so cool. He's so cool.
No, and he's actually, you can tell this guy's in his element. He got this gig. He doesn't have to play the role of senator anymore. He can just be Marco Rubio.
He could be a capo.
And there's definitely some of that Trump rubbing off, too. The Trump shine and
He's a
confidence.
capo for the Don, man.
The feistiness.
Yeah.
He took on Ted Lieu as well. He took on all sorts of people.
He's not afraid. He ain't scared. That's for sure.
He ain't scared at all. Actually, we can fit this in. Why not?
What do we got?
This is Rubio going up against Ted Lieu. You're aware of that fella, right?
Yes, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's a real piece of work. But, he's probably going to have a long career as a Democrat in the House. But let's listen in.
We have not seen the president in 8 days. The American people deserve the truth. I yield back.
This is my favorite Democrat conspiracy of late because Joe
unhealthy.
Biden really was
Right.
like just going down. He wasn't in best shape. He joked. That now, turnabout's fair. Trump's the one who's in decline.
Jerry, when someone accuses you of something like you're a thief, that's because that's the way they operate.
But here's Rubio responding to that.
I don't even know how to respond to that, other than to tell you that it's absurd and ridiculous. And I can't believe we're in a Foreign Affairs Committee meeting in front of the House at an important time in American foreign policy.
Just keep lying,
Answering
Secretary Rubio.
questions
Just keep
from a
lying.
supposedly someone who thinks he's a medical expert when he's not. The truth of the matter is we had a cognitively impaired president in office a few years ago. That's a cognitively impaired president, but I don't like to talk about that because it weakens America. This president we have, this is a guy that literally doesn't sleep. He works day and night, long hours, every single day. I don't know if you haven't seen him in 8 days. I saw him yesterday. I didn't see him yesterday because I was in Congress the day before. I talked to him at all hours of the day and night. He works inhumane hours. Okay, I've been on foreign trips with the president that he doesn't sleep in the whole flight. And everyone else is sleeping on the plane, and he's, wandering the hallways looking for someone to wake up and talk to that people are. So I don't know what you're referring to, but he has an incredible amount of energy. I'm just telling you, you may not like his policies. You may not like his policies, you may not like the decisions he's made, but I assure you, this is not a president that sleeps or is cognitively impaired in any way, shape, or form, and in fact is incredibly active, much more so in many cases than much younger people that are around him. Those are facts. I see it every day. You're not going to agree because you have another narrative that you want to push, but those are the facts.
And he's right. This is kind of, but it shows like this how this game works when it's that absurd. Anyway,
Could you imagine being on Air Force One and it's like 4 a.m. and he's poking around going, are you awake? Fake news? Are you awake?
You're weak. You're asleep.
You're terrible.
So asleep. Oh, well, what Nick told that story where he fell asleep because he wasn't on a call and
love
Trump
it.
threw a Tootsie Roll in his mouth, hit him in the forehead. Anyway, appreciate you stopping by.
Man, always. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you earlier.
Oh, it's all good.
Yep. Here to
And
help.
happy hour with Greg Bedell. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV.